You tuned into the right place. Welcome to the rain. Golden Queen. H2.0. Yeah. Yeah. You're looking for a diamond, found a treasure in the rough. Tired of all the noise, cause you finally had enough. I'm here to build a movement on a mission for the nation. Dropping gems of knowledge, killing all the hesitation. We fighting for the truth, yeah, we fighting for what's right. Building unity and shining up a brand new light. It's a variety channel, but the vision's crystal clear. Pushing us all forward, conquering the doubt and fear. Welcome to the Queendom, it's 2.0 on your screen, where the content's real and smart and funny in between. This is more than just a stream, it's a platform for the change. Time to elevate the game and rearrange. If you're ready for a vibe that you can feel and trust, joining in the movement is a definite must. This ain't just another channel talking smack behind the screen. It's a spotlight for the creators, building up a better scene. Spreading radical love, that's the message in the code. Helping everybody carry up a heavy load. From social justice issues to the laughter that we need. Planting seeds of progress, watch them grow from just a seed. This is authentic, this is raw, this is everything you saw. Welcome to the battle that is truly being fought. Ooh, so come with your respect and see the real effect. Cause I protect my own right here on the throne. Don't make me envy. Unleash the dragon. Subscribe, ring that notification bell. Yeah, you don't wanna miss a thing. Welcome to the family. Yeah.
Chasing the check, but the weight of the world is the chain on my neck. Look, check the clock, check the pace, check the greed. Everybody sprinting just to get what they need. They don't care about the person, they don't care about the heart. Just a number on a ledger trying to tear the soul apart. Getting paid by the hour, yeah, they stacking up the stress. Why the people at the bottom try to clean up the mess? It's a cycle, it's a system, it's a cold-blooded race. They look you in the eye while they try to take your space. For the love of the money, we're working through the dead of night. For the love of money, trading our time for a flicker of light. For the love of money, they'll sell the truth just to get the pay. Doesn't matter who you are, they're gonna look the other way. For that mean green, the hustle's got us on our knees. I need the racks, but not like that. I need to win, but keep the facts. Everybody's acting for the digital stage, selling out their spirit for a click on a page. Clickbait the drama, monetize the fake. How much of your integrity are you willing to stake? They're getting paid to hollow out everything we seek. The bank account is heavy, but the character is weak. Check the status symbol, check the bottom line. The pressure of the climb's gonna drive us out of mind. Chasing down the bonus isn't worth the cost of time. Got to have it, I'd rather have the truth. Stop trading all our wisdom and the fire of our youth. Don't let the bottom line change you. Don't be a ghost for a
Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Golden. I'm back with another video, y'all. And today I figured we do something a little bit different. You know, we always talk about the politics over here, we talk about history, and we've gone into getting back into our food journey, y'all, because we some foodies over here. But today I figure I come and talk about a little bit of what I think and feel about some of the celebrity gossip and news that I've been seeing in the headlines and see what y'all think about it as well. So there's been a few things that's been going on. We're going to get into that on the live. It is about 3:18 p.m. here Eastern Time in the Carolinas, in the United States, and it is nice outside. The sun is shining real bright. It's a little chilly breeze, but it feels pretty decent. It is tolerable. I hope you guys are having an excellent day and weather wherever it is you are located, whether it's morning, afternoon, evening, or night. I hope it is a great day for you. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. We made it past Sunday. Tomorrow is Friday. That's what's up. That's what's up. So let me go ahead and give y'all a brief synopsis if you haven't seen already, which I'm pretty sure you have, but we'll talk about it, you know, in typical Golden style, and I'll give y'all some of my thoughts and opinions of what we'll be breaking down. But it's been a very chaotic week in the celebrity history or the celebrity sector. So, from the active investigation into Offset's powing in Florida to the federal charges against Pooh Shiesty for allegedly ambushing Gucci Mane with an AK-47, we also going to talk about the full breakdown of Latto's Big Mama pregnancy and the wild performance art defense Diddy's team is using in court today. So, y'all get ready. We're going to dive into each and every one of these things. And per usual, y'all know I got some video reports to show you as well. But the first thing we'll be getting into is Offset in the Florida casino shooting or powing. We have to start there with the terrifying news out of Florida. On Monday night, April 6th, Offset was powed in the leg near the valet area of the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. He's currently stable at the Memorial Regional Hospital, but the investigation has taken a bizarre turn. Now, Lil Tjay was arrested at the scene for disorderly conduct and calling Offset a rat to the reporters to the second he posted bond. While TJ's lawyer, Don Florio, claims it's all baseless rumors, the tension seems to be still at an all-time high. And what's even more interesting is that Cardi B is reportedly calling the hospital immediately, despite the very public life that she has with Stefon Diggs. She posted a message about her life being in danger. Is this a targeted industry hit, or is this just personal trauma that went wrong? So we'll be getting into that, y'all. What do y'all believe? Do you think Lil Tjay, or do you believe Offset's camp? Like, whose side do y'all take? And do you think Lil Tjay's rat comment means that there's something deeper going on, that we don't know about this motive and this whole situation yet? And also, is Cardi B's outreach, do y'all think, to Offset a sign of a reunion between them, or is it just a co-parent, a mother who shares the same, father of her children that is concerned about him during a time of crisis? Y'all let me know what y'all think. So, yeah, we're going to break down the storylines and the timelines of all of this. The Florida casino incident, Lil Tjay shocking rat comments after his arrest, and Cardi B speaking out about both. So I have this first video I'm going to go ahead and put up for y'all. We'll watch that together. And per usual, y'all know that I'll meet y'all in the chat. But let's go ahead and see what's going on with this. If y'all haven't heard about this yet, go ahead and listen to a little bit of this report. Let me get this up here for y'all. Give me just a sec. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. Y'all let me know what y'all think. It's getting kind of crazy out here in the streets everywhere, honestly. You know what I mean? Not just the celebrity streets, y'all, but everywhere. Let's go ahead and listen to this together, and we'll be right back.
Lil Tjay's legal team is speaking out after Offset was shot outside the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Florida on April 6th. The In My Head rapper's attorney reacts to her client being arrested and charged in connection with the incident by the Seminole Police Department. The representative shares in a statement on Instagram April 7th, "We are issuing this release in regards to false rumors that Lil Tjay was involved in a shooting which occurred at the valet area of the Seminole Hard Rock Hollywood, which resulted in non-life-threatening injuries to Offset, formerly a member of Migos." The statement continues, "Lil Tjay has not been shot, nor has Lil Tjay been charged with any shooting. Any reporting to the contrary is false. We encourage people to consult trusted news sources and to verify the accuracy of any reporting before reflexively sharing or repeating baseless rumors." E! News has reached out to a rep for Lil Tjay and his attorney for comment, but has not yet heard back. The shooting occurred around 7 p.m. local time, with the Seminole Police Department confirming to E! News that a victim had suffered, quote, non-life-threatening injuries. Authorities also state that 2 people have been arrested, with Lil Tjay charged with, quote, disorderly conduct or fray, a first-degree misdemeanor. Since then, a spokesperson for Offset has stated that he is, quote, stable and being closely monitored at Memorial Regional Hospital.
All right, so that was just a brief introduction as far as what is going on, just to let y'all know in a wrap up about that. But we got more information, and we also have Cardi B who has spoken out about this as well, and so we'll be getting into all of that also. So let's go ahead and pull up the rest of these videos here. Give me just a second. We'll get right into it, and we'll see exactly what is going on as far as how it started and where we are right now, and some of the statements that Cardi B made, not just on, Twitter Spaces and stuff like that, but also on her live. So we heard her speak out about what she saw and what she feels as though is, behind all of this. We'll get into all of that in just a moment, y'all. Let me go ahead and get this video pulled up for y'all. Give me just a second. Just a second. Sorry for the delay. Hold on. Let me get this up on the screen for y'all. Hold on. And I'm curious to know, what do y'all think about this? Like, what is y'all thoughts and feelings and opinion? Now, what they basically are saying, or some people have said, is that it's a gambling debt that Offset had, and it all, happened due to that. Now, interestingly enough, Cardi B, when she was speaking about some of the things that were happening, it was a large amount of money that was attempted to be removed from their bank account, that actually would, I guess, fit into the gambling debt amount that was, spoken about. And so I don't know if the fight was over that, or if, we can just say the pow-powing was over that, a gambling debt. But then we also got now Lil Tjay that's involved. So we got to see what's going on with that as well, and what part he played in it. So y'all, let's get into this video. We'll watch this together and we'll be right back. This is an update.
Also now at 11, we're hearing from rapper Offset for the first time since he was shot at Hard Rock Casino. Seminole police say another rapper, Lil Tjay, ordered people in his entourage to attack Offset, who was once, of course, married to Cardi B. CBS News Miami's Chelsea Jones is your reporter live in Hollywood. She is at Memorial Regional Hospital, where Offset is still being treated tonight. Chelsea.
Yeah, Jim, we have been here for several hours, and we have actually seen several of his associates outside of the emergency room behind me Right now, at this hour, things are quiet here, but like you said, at this point, we believe that he is still here being treated for his injuries. Kiari Cephas, best known as rapper Offset, seen for the first time in these photos smoking outside of Memorial Regional Hospital. He's also speaking for the first time on social media since being shot Monday at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. The Atlanta rapper commented, "You ain't bust nothing," in response to this.
Offset. He would never play with me like that in his life.
That's Tion Merritt, also known as rapper Lil Tjay. Seminole police accuse him of ordering his entourage to attack Offset at the valet of the casino. They charged him with disorderly conduct. He was released Tuesday afternoon.
The last thing I seen was Offset looking at me like this. Yo, that nigga shot me. That shot me. La la la. The rat, the cat, weirdos.
In this video, you can see a man lying on the ground with an officer on top of him, while police struggled to restrain another. TMZ snapped these pictures showing Offset on a stretcher, wounded. Paramedics took him to the hospital with non-life-threatening wounds. At this time, no one has been charged with pulling the trigger. Police say they are still looking. Tuesday morning on social media, Lil Tjay's lawyer posted a statement addressing what she calls false rumors that Lil Tjay was involved in a shooting. The question that remains is why all this happened in the first place. CBS News Miami asked Lil Tjay as he left jail.
Does somebody owe you money?
Ask Offset.
He owe you money?
Ask Offset.
Do you have issues with Offset?
I don't know.
Offset was married to popular rapper Cardi B. The two share 3 children. Offset's shooting comes just shy of 2 years since his brother and fellow Migo Takeoff was shot and killed in Houston. And while Lil Tjay was charged with disorderly conduct, Seminole police say the shooter has still not been caught. Live from outside of Memorial Regional Hospital, I'm Chelsea Jones, CBS News, Miami.
All right, y'all. So that's a little bit of a additional update as far as the issues that are going on with this case, but we have more. So let's get into that real quick. So let's go over and hear what Cardi B had to say. And it was very interesting, you know, because Cardi B go live. She ain't got no problem going live and speaking her mind and telling, you know, what she feeling, what she thinking, what's going on. And so Cardi B had some real interesting things to say about what went down and also what was happening at the time when all of this was going down as far as the bank accounts. So let me find that video for you. I got it right here. I'll get it pulled up for y'all. Give me just a second. But yeah, so Cardi, she basically was making it very clear about, you know, what was happening and whatnot. As far as the bank accounts and how they were actually frozen, and she was alerted that this large amount of money was be taken from said bank account. And what they still are saying is they're not really 100% sure as to why that large amount of money was being taken from the bank account, but they're pinning it to be this a gambling debt that he owes. He was trying to pay and take that. But you know, your accounts alert you when you're trying to make draws and stuff like that. So let's see what she had to say, y'all. Give me just a second. I'm gonna get this pulled up for y'all. Give me just a minute. StreamYard is going really slow. So let me get this up here. Y'all, it's never a dull moment. It is never a dull moment. There's always something going on. Let me see. Where did it go? Where did it go? I just had the video. One sec. Hold on, y'all. All right. Let's listen to this one real quick. Hold on. Give me just a minute. All right, y'all. Here we go. I got it. Let's get this one put up real quick. Here we go. So this was an interesting one that I listened to. I want y'all to listen to it. Let me know what y'all think. I'm really curious what y'all think and feel about this. 1 second. Here we go. Oh my goodness, this thing is so slow. All right, here we go. All right, let me get this over here. All right, let's listen, y'all, together, and I'm gonna meet y'all in the chat.
Thanks for tuning into The Source, your source for celebrity news. Do me a favor and hit that like button, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, why don't you go ahead and do that too? All right, y'all, as y'all know, this week we've had a whole lot of beefs. I mean, you had Pooh Shiesty against Gucci Mane. You had Lil Tjay and his crew against Offset. But no beef has been bigger and more dangerous than that beef between Trick Daddy and the AKAs. All right, so as we already reported to you earlier this week, Trick Daddy was very upset and hurt.
Hold on, y'all. That's not the one. That's my bonus video, child. Now you already know. StreamYard be getting on my nerve. Anyway, yes, that's my bonus video, y'all. Because, yeah, there was some stuff that went down with Trick Daddy with the AKAs. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. But I was going to surprise y'all with that one. But, child, that was the one that started playing first. So, hold on. Let me go back to the other one with Cardi. Give me just a sec. I hate when it's stuff do like this because it's just like, come on, I have it all set up the way it needs to be, and then it messes up. So here we go. Now I got it. Let me get this one up here for y'all. Wait just a second. Wait just a second. I'm sorry. All right, we're about to get into it. All right, I got the right one now. Okay. So yeah, did y'all see that mess with Trick Daddy? We're gonna get into that at the end. That's my bonus one that I'm gonna play and we'll talk about. But yeah, he decided, well, not he decided, but they invited him to perform at a AKA event, right? The Alpha Kappa Alpha event with young and seasoned fine wine AKAs. And child, his performance was not impressive. They was not feeling it. It did not work. Okay, it did not go well. But anyway, we'll get into that in just a moment. All right, let's go ahead and get into this one, y'all. Give me just a second. All right. Okay, boom. Okay, boom. All right, we got it. All right. That's the right one. Okay, here we go.
Not only did he get shot by Lil Tjay, or allegedly Lil Tjay shot him or one of his boys, but it's now being reported that Offset owes money to another casino. Not only does he owe them money, but the Detroit casino is allegedly suing him for a $100,000 gambling debt. Now, the casino claims Offset opened a $100,000 credit line in March of 2024 and never paid it back. And there allegedly weren't enough funds in his account when the casino attempted to withdraw the money. Offset's team is now saying they're working towards a resolution. So he's not saying it's not true or it's not real. Obviously, why would it be fake? But he's saying like, okay, don't worry about it. I'm going to pay it off. Offset also finally responded to Lil Tjay. He had a couple words for him. And Lil Tjay also claimed that Offset was a snitch while kind of snitching on himself.
The last thing I seen was Offset looking at me like this. Yo, that shot me. That shot me. La 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 is a rat. I don't do no damn fighting.
Man, you just want to tell us what happened?
Did I shoot? Crazy.
They're saying you were disorderly. Outside
he
the
put
casino, there was
hands
a
on
fight
you
near the
first?
valet.
Smack the shit out of Offset. He would never play with me like that in his life.
Does somebody owe you money?
Ask Offset.
He owe you money?
Ask Offset.
Now, the beef between both rappers has always been about this $5,000 debt. It has always been about money. It has always been about Offset owing Lil Tjay money, Lil Tjay trying to get it back, and Offset brushing him off. To the point that Lil Tjay claimed that Offset told him if he wants his money back, he has to get it back in blood.
Did he give you your money back?
I don't know. Nigga, he told me to get that shit back in blood. Like that was cute.
Shit.
I look at it like, bro, you mad, old gang. Pay it to me, bro.
Now, DJ Academics, who has the closest connection to Offset, actually spoke to him. And it sounds like Offset is more pissed about people talking about him snitching and people claiming that Lil Tjay shot him versus all the other allegations or all the other things that people are more worried about, like his gambling debt.
Yeah, and I talked to Set. You know, I made sure it was okay. He was a little bit perturbed by how the media, and I guess I'm definitely part of the media, was putting this out, because he's like, listen, two things, and this is two things that he wanted to clear up. He said, TJ never shot me. And he said, number two was, I never made no statements. That's why that nigga's popping the shit. Basically saying, his words to me was, man, I told him, cops, I don't know what happened. I don't know who did what. I don't know what happened. I'm just here. So he said he declined to, you know, speak about anything. And he said he had no knowledge of what went on anyway.
Now, it's clear that Offset is more worried about people calling him a snitch versus anything else. He also doesn't want to give Lil Tjay that street cred of him being the one that shot him. So the only thing he said is, you ain't bust none. Now, this clears Offset's snitching allegations because now he can't be prosecuted unless there's actual video footage of him shooting the gun, which it seems like there isn't. It sounds like it was one of Lil Tjay's people who actually did the shooting, who, by the way, seems like ended up getting away because it hasn't been reported anywhere else that the shooter actually ended up getting arrested, aside from Lil Tjay, who didn't get charged for any of that.
We're learning more from investigators. Apparently, that other rapper, Lil Tjay, pulled up to valet here behind me, directed his posse, according to officers, to start a fight with Offset and his friends. That's when someone fired a weapon.
There's also this crazy trend going on with people claiming that Cardi B responded, saying that she went live, admitting she did not cry when she found out her ex-husband Offset got shot because he owes her $950,000. They play this Instagram live video that has nothing to do with the caption up here. It even quotes and says he owes everybody money, but is at the casino gambling. He deserves this. So there's a lot of different videos like this being posted up. They're even doing it with Lil Tjay, and you can see that they're being translated from French. So I don't even think this is an American who is actually posting this video. If we click on the profile, you're going to see that they're from Europe. So it's a ton of people just out here clickbaiting, trying to get that engagement. There's a ton of different pages that are doing this exact same thing. What Cardi B did end up saying, however, is that $60,000 were stolen from her credit card by 4 men. They spent it at Zach's and Apple and tried to withdraw money from Chase Bank. And people are making jokes saying that it's Offset, the one that actually stole her credit card and is running up the tab at the casino.
Because I know when y'all read my card and y'all saw my name, Belcalis M. Manor, I googled what the fuck that was. Oh shit, bitch, we got Cardi B card, bitch. We're gonna have a good time. Bitch. Yeah, you're gonna have a good time, bitch, in the penitentiary, bitch. That's where the fuck you gonna have a good time at, bitch.
So far, her reaction is not addressing it at all and actually focusing on the fact that somebody stole her credit card. So if you see any posts talking about Cardi B said this, Cardi B said that, it's most likely a lie, so keep away from that. Fans, however, are very disappointed with the downfall of the Migos. This person said Migos' downfall is actually crazy. They started beefing, lost takeoff. Offset is a serial cheater / stalker. Quavo likes to beat on girls but refuses to see Chris Brown in a fight. Just wow. And a lot of people feel this way. This tweet got 2.2 million views. And in the comments from my previous video, a lot of people were concerned about what ended up happening with the Migos, the situation that they're in right now. They may be doing fine, but the image that they used to portray just isn't there anymore.
And Offset, you can't be sending this type of shit around to people. Look at this. This is Offset with his Hard Rock host. He's like, I'm here. So only gave me $3K in cash. He says, at least you have some cash. That's what the host says. He says, credit line. He says, I'm working on it. He says, how long? Because he's trying to gamble. The host says, I'm not sure. I sent it higher. It's up in credit. He said, what did they say? Now this is, he says, this is the host. He says, do you want to know what's your down this trip? He says, yes, $890,000. So, oh my God, I need $500K more. Man, I don't know if it seems like he's in there chasing losses. And I've been there too, because I'm kind of low-key a fiend too. I ain't gonna cap with you. Like, you know what I mean? We all been there. I'm not gonna act like Offset the only. But, bruh, if your ops could pull up on you at this casino because you're there lacking, just spending days, weeks, months, it's not good.
It's funny how the narrative started switching up from Lil Tjay shooting Offset to everybody coming out and saying, like, wait a second, he owes me money too. Des Bryant was one of the people who actually said that Offset finessed him at $8,000. He ended up tweeting about this, and a lot of people thought it was hilarious that he went out of his way to do this. Ebro also ended up saying that Offset owed him $5,000.
Didn't you and Offset have a bet?
He owes me $5,000.
Oh, God.
He does. I've talked to him 1,000 times since then and
No.
never jammed him up about $5,000.
No, of course.
Because clearly he's somebody that didn't pay his bet. Like, why I'm not going to chase you around about
God.
$5,000's not a big deal to me.
The following day, however, he apologized and he said it was a joke and it was a dry joke and he didn't really mean that, and that he spoke to Offset and they were laughing about it. That was kind of lame of him. We all saw the video. It didn't even really seem like a joke, so Ebro's lame for that. Selena Powell was the other person that allegedly got finessed by Offset, and she went on the interview about it. She even said that, hey, if I end up disappearing, it was Offset.
I did a favor and this is a test. I was like, okay, what? He was like, how much money can you get or are you by? And I was like, I mean, like, I have I sent him the video, like, all that money that I have in my safe.
You're rich.
And he immediately called me. He called me back, and then he was like, bring all of it. And I was like, I don't even know how much this is. He was like, bring all of it, because I have a ton of 20s and then, like, hundreds.
At the time. Not now, currently.
No.
Because, continue. Keep going.
Because now, so then he was like, yeah, bring all of it. So I actually did, but in my mind I was like, I can't give him the 20s, like, let me just give him the hundreds. He was like counting out in the car. I went to the casino, by the way. I'm not gonna do every single detail and have this.
She's working on her 40-minute straight drive.
And finally, the last person, if you haven't seen this video yet, it's Lil Tjay claiming that Offset is the one that's down bad, owed him money, didn't pay him back, exposed him at the time, and is the reason why all of this is going on to begin with.
I ain't got nothing to do with that shit. Casino. He was popped. He was panicking. He was asking random people for cash apps. He was broke. I don't know what happened. Nobody was answering his phone call. He popped, trying to run up, chasing. Must got a gambling addiction. And the says, yo, he just popped.
All right, y'all. So for real, if you know, it ain't my thing, but I know it's other people's thing, and I've seen other people that get into like issues and stuff when it comes to gambling. Like, gambling is an addiction. It really is. And people get in like way far when it comes to gambling. And it can get real ugly and it can get real nasty because, like, they not only putting up their money, sometimes they borrowing money from people, you know what I'm saying, asking for a loan, and they use that money to gamble because they think like, all right, if you let me hold this amount of money, I'm gonna gamble it. And I feel like, I'm going to win back, not just the amount that you let me borrow, but extra. So that way I can pay you your money back. And then I got some winnings that I can put in in the bank or whatever. And it don't turn out to be that way. Like, because you can lose. Like, gambling is literally, that's what it means. Gambling. It's not a sure thing. And so a lot of people get like in a lot of debt from gambling. And when you do that, you know what I'm saying, and you got people that's loaning you money or getting you money or, you know what I'm saying, fronting you money and stuff for gambling. Oh my God. So let's talk about gambling addiction and the, let's just say the unsafe life when you're a gambler. Okay, because a lot of people be out here be gambling. Now, they don't always gamble with their money. They sometimes gamble with other things, but gambling, period, like, it can lead to a lot of bad stuff. So gambling addiction, often called the hidden illness, right? It creates a lifestyle defined by vitality and a constant sense of precariousness. Unlike other addictions, it has no physical symptoms or track marks or slurred speech, but the internal and external wreckage can be just as devastating. So let's talk about it. The psychological trap, chasing the loss. The core of gambling problems isn't just the desire to win, it's the inability to stop once you start losing, right? Because you got to make up for, or you feel like, yo, I lost this time, but I'm going to win the next time. So you keep going to chase that win. This leads to a cycle known as, and it is actually defined as, chasing. Now, there's also a dopamine hit. Winning triggers a massive release of dopamine. Over time, the brain requires higher stakes to feel the same high, just like drugs, respectfully and allegedly, and all of the things, right? So you always hear, like, when people say people that use drugs and stuff like that, once they get used to using a certain amount of drug, they don't feel the same high. So now they got to use more. When it comes to gambling, it's the same thing. Like, you got to keep upping the ante. So then we got to talk about the loss aversion. To a gambler, a loss isn't just a loss of money. It's a debt that a machine or a game seems to owe them, right? And then they have this big win delusion, the belief that one single win will solve all of the financial and personal problems, which justifies taking increasingly dangerous risks and bets of amounts of money, right? And that's why a lot of people get into a lot of these huge debts, because they think like, yo, this big one right here, this is going to pay off. I'm going to be able to pay this one back. I'm going to be able to pay that one back. I'm going to be able to pay that one back. I can pay the, institution back, whatever, the casino, whatever. And then I can actually walk away with some money too. So then they have financial instability, the most immediate threat. It often progresses from spending savings, as far as maxing out credit cards, taking out high interest payday loans, defaulting on essential bills like your rent, your mortgages, or your utilities, and in extreme cases, engaging in desperation crimes, stealing, theft, or fraud, or to fund the habit. So they'll steal from people to fund the habit, or they'll ask to like borrow and stuff from people that they trust and they love, you know what I mean, that they know that's going to have their back and may not have no problem sliding them the money if they got it, because they need it real bad. And instead of using that money for purchasing maybe a substance or something like that, or alcohol, they're using the money to gamble. It's the same situation. Erosion of trust and relationships. Gambling thrives on secrecy. To keep gambling, a person must often lie to the ones that they love about where they are and what they are doing with the money and where the money went. And so this creates, number one, isolation. The gambler pulls away from friends and family to avoid questioning, and also betrayal. When the truth eventually comes out, it often shatters the foundation of the marriages or the friendship or the family connections that these people have, because now they have finally realized, like, yo, this person has been borrowing money from you and, ciphering money from you because they have a gambling addiction, and they're pouring all of that money right on out into betting and waging and whatever. Now, the mental health toll. This unsafe feeling is often eternal. The constant highs of winning and lows of losing leads to, number one, extreme anxiety, living in fear of creditors or fear of being found out, or people running up on you with baseball bats and whatever else. Okay, maybe pals, right? Because you owe them huge amounts of money for a period of time that you haven't paid back or came good to be on when it comes to these type of loans and things like that. It also allows people to get into a place of depression, the crushing weight of debt and shame of broken promises, and unfortunately sometimes it can lead to unaliving ideations. Gambling addictions has one of the highest rates of unalive attempts among all addictive disorders due to the feeling of being trapped and stuck. But there are resources for help. So if you or someone you know, right, is struggling, you don't have to navigate this alone. There are professional and peer-led resources designed to provide a safety net. Now, there is a such thing called the National Problem Gambling Helpline, and this is USA-based here in my country where I live. I'm going to put this in the chat for y'all because it may be people that be suffering from this, and I don't judge nobody. Everybody got going on what they got going on. You know what I'm saying? So let me go ahead and put this in the chat real quick. So this is one of the first numbers that you can call, right? So if you are someone who is maybe fall victim to be, you know, in a gambling addiction or issue, here is a helpline that you can use. And again, this first one that I just posted is US based. It is a number 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. They also have Gamblers Anonymous, which is a 12-step program for people to share their experiences and find support. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. If there's anybody out there, you know, they may have a gambling issue, whatever. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But you can get help. There's help out here and there's resources out here. They have Gam Talk, which is an online community, right, where people can chat anonymously about some gambling issues that they may have. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. And, you know, because sometimes a lot of these things, you want to keep it anonymous. You want to keep it secret, and that's understandable. And then if you want to reach out to, you know, professionals and get therapy, there are cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. It is highly effective in treating the thought patterns and lead to compulsive gambling. So I will put that in the chat as well. So basically wrapped around a lot of this, and this is not the first time that this has been talked about when it comes to Offset. It's been said before, you know, and talked about before that he is a gambler, you know, even when it comes to Takeoff. Unfortunately, rest in peace to Takeoff. When Takeoff was taken from us, you know, and unalived or whatnot, at that time where they were and what they were doing was gambling. And so, you know, this can lead to, you know, unalivings and people getting hurt and harmed and going broke and all of the things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can lead to very bad circumstances. And I know some people might be out here struggling with the same thing as well. But yes, there is resources and help. But let's keep going on this video. And then we will be moving right along because we got to talk about Gucci Mane. We got a lot of more things we're going to come up next that we're going to talk about in the celebrity sector. But with the gambling thing, yeah, we're going to listen to it. We're going to watch it. It's celebrity tea and gossip and all of the things. But if it's something important that's really like happening, because now he's been injured, you know, there was an attempt on his life because of this. And it's because of the addiction and the choices that he makes to like really be heavily involved in gambling. So I want to just make sure that we're keeping it, you know what I'm saying, safe on all ends, right? So we talk about it. Yes, we can chat about it and speak about how we feel, but we also want to keep it safe as well because we know that this is a real condition that people can have, gambling addiction. So anyway, let's keep going.
Be calling for cash apps in front of me. I ain't gonna lie to you. The first 5 I offered, I'm like, yo, you pop, you waiting for some bread? Waiting for my money. I swung that 5. You know how I get. He gets popped. Not us two dicing each other. He gets popped straight to the casino. Goes not. He get another loan for somebody else for like 2 bands. I don't even take my loan. I'm like, that's Offset. I'm good on my money. I'm worried about this. I got mad, bro. I definitely run off for 5 bands. He pops for the next band. He get 2 bands. He get a band from a random lady. I swear to God, I don't know who the it was. He's like, yo, thanks, ma. He pops that. Throw another 5. So I see like 13 bands in loans. I don't know who got paid back that day. You feel me? Bro, where's my mother that shit ducked me for so long, boy? And mind you, I'm 23. And this is Raindrop, Drop Top, Cardi B husband. And I'm only talking crazy because he was talking crazy. Like, why? He was talking crazy me over my bread. I still go hard. And I beat him up on his birthday, but I'm not even, you feel me? Gangsta, I was too, you know this? I'm that good type of like, I'm giving you a little bit of me. I was too sturdy, or like, it was like I couldn't even do that time, fo.
Now, according to DJ Academics, all of these things are irrelevant to Offset. He doesn't care about any of that aside from the situation with Lil Tjay and him being called a snitch, but apparently academics spoke to him. He told him like, hey, you shouldn't be hanging around this way. You're a superstar. You're one of the biggest rappers. So hopefully more people reach out to him. They check on him. He stops gambling as much and he locks in, because it really seems that Offset is not locked in right now.
But I did have a good conversation with him today, and I was just like, hey, listen, yo, Offset, I think you're kind of moving away. You're forgetting who you are, bro. You're allowing these things to happen, and then you can't really feel away how people take it or put the narrative behind it when you're kind of allowing these things to happen, right? Like, I get it. And I'm not here to talk about addiction or nothing like that. We all have our vices. Shit, I'm addicted to some shit, right? You guys was it, right? But what I did tell him, which he did agree, was I was like, yo, bro, you got to move like the superstar you are, man. Like, you're too accessible. Fans are running up, taking pictures. Like, you know what I mean? People trying to get a viral moment. You should, take this as a wake-up call, which he did respond positively too. Obviously, he still doesn't like the narrative of, oh shit, some rapper or another rapper did something to him. Also, he doesn't like the people trying to insinuate that he told, because he said he didn't say nothing. You know what I mean? And I actually agree with him on that.
This is rapper Lil Tjay bonding out of the Broward County Jail Tuesday afternoon.
Hey, who? Were you involved in a fight at the casino?
Does Offset owe you money?
The rapper's real name is Tyone Merritt. He was at Hollywood's Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Monday night when rapper Offset was shot. He told Local 10 cameras some of his account of what happened.
Yo, that shot me. That shot me. La is a rat cat. Weirdos.
According to Seminole police, there was some sort of fight and a shooting at the valet area outside. 2 people were taken into custody, but no other details were made available. Offset boasts a whopping 23.8 million followers on social media, with more than 17 million Spotify listeners monthly. He was married to well-known rap artist Cardi B. Offset's rep confirms he's in stable condition and is being closely monitored at a hospital. We asked Lil Tjay if there was a fight between them before the shooting.
Did he put his hands on you? I don't know. How many times did I say shit like that? Wait, touch me.
His lawyer said in a statement, Lil Tjay has not been shot, nor has Lil Tjay been charged with any shooting. Any reporting to the contrary is false.
We have requested the official arrest form for Lil Tjay. We are waiting on that. And I did reach back out to Offset's rep with a few more follow-up questions, waiting on her response as well.
As you can see, the past 24 hours shot by none other than Lil Tjay.
It's Offset. Offset broke. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all the stream too. That broke. That pop. The last thing I seen was Offset looking at me like this. Yo, that shot me. That shot me. La is a rat.
It's live right now. And Bridget, I know Lil Tjay had some words for Offset as he was leaving jail. Fill us in.
Yeah, Christy, he had a lot to say when he was bonding out of jail, including what he says he heard Offset say after he was shot. Now, to be clear, Lil Tjay has not been charged with any type of shooting charge, and Offset, he remains here at the hospital. Still a lot of questions about what exactly happened.
Now, there's currently a lot of rumors circulating on the internet about him owing a lot of different people money. Des Bryant just popped up on the internet saying, hey, he owed me a little bit of money too. There's also text messages between Offset and his Hard Rock host, who claims that he's down over $890,000.
This is Offset with his Hard Rock host. He's like, I'm here. So only gave me $3K in cash. He says, at least you have some cash. That's what the host says. He says, credit line. He says, I'm working on it. He says, how long? Because he's trying to gamble. The host says, I'm not sure. I sent it higher. It's up in credit. He said, what did they say? Now, this is.
All right, y'all. So I think that pretty much wraps it up as far as what is going on with that situation. And like I said, a lot of people are in that predicament where they have a gambling addiction. And so we did leave some resources or whatnot in the chat. If anybody needs any of those set resources, if you know somebody or you happen to be somebody who is dealing with gambling addiction, it is a thing. It is real, and it can lead to being harmed and unalive. So it can get real dangerous. But anyway, that is what we have heard when it comes to that as far as the gambling. There also is another video of Cardi B speaking out as far as when she got the alerts on the account that, there was so much money that was trying to be taken out of the account. And she spoke on that. I did watch that video earlier today. So I don't know if that's something that y'all want to see or hear. Well, you can see that there's other individuals and friends and things of that nature that have loaned money to Offset that haven't gotten it back. They've lost out on huge amounts of money. And I guess when Offset was doing the gambling, he thought that if he hits big and he wins, the money, he'll have enough to pay them back and stash a little sum in his account in his pocket as well. But when it comes to gambling, it can go one way or the other. So anyway, y'all, we are going to move on. We got to get into now our next topic. We'll be talking about so basically Gucci Mane supposedly was kidnapped by Pooh Shiesty. They're talking about federal involvement and all of those things. So we're going to get into that. And this is coming from the Law and Crime Network. So they're talking about that over on the Law and Crime Network and the channel on YouTube, the Law and Crime Network. So they have legitimate information. He is a lawyer, right? So when he brings the information forth, it's going to be legitimate. So before we get into that, y'all, let's take a quick song break and I'm going to get the video set up and we'll be right back. Let's see what's going on with Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty. All right, y'all, we'll be right back.
Yeah, I'm chasing the check, but the weight of the world is a chain on my neck. Money, 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 money. Yeah, check the clock, check the pace, check the greed. Everybody sprinting just to get what they need. They don't care about the person, they don't care about the heart. Just a number on a ledger trying to tear the soul apart. Getting paid by the hour, yeah, they stacking up the stress. Why the people at the bottom try to clean up the mess? It's a cycle, it's a system, it's a cold-blooded race. They'll look you in the eye while they try to take your space. For love of but not like that. No, I need to win, but keep the facts straight. Everybody's acting for the digital stage, selling out their spirit for a click on the page. Clickbait the drama, monetize the fake. How much of your integrity are you willing to stake? They're getting paid to hollow out everything we seek. The bank account is heavy, but the character is weak. Check the status symbol, check the bottom line. The pressure of the climb's gonna drive us out our mind. Chasing down the bonus isn't worth the cost of time. Got to have it, I'd rather have the truth. Stop trading all our wisdom in the fire of our youth. Don't be a ghost for a paycheck. Stay real for the people. Money, 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 money. Don't be a ghost for a paycheck. Stay real, I'm gonna be a fool. Buddy. Buddy.
All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get into our next topic. So this is Gucci Mane and the 1017 Betrayal, right? So the story is literally like a movie script. The DOJ just revealed that back in January, Gucci Mane was lured to Dallas studio for a business meeting that was actually a coordinated armed takeover. the feds have charged Pooh Shiesty and Big 30 with kidnapping. They allege that Shiesty pulled an AK style pow on his own mentor, which is Gucci Mane, and forced Gucci to sign paperwork releasing Shiesty from his 1017 Records contract. Shiesty's father, Lontrell Williams Sr., was allegedly the one who went to Staples to print out the extortion documents. They even posted photos of Gucci's stolen jewelry on IG hours later. This is a ultimate betrayal. So, y'all let me know. Do y'all think 1017 label is going to be able to survive all of this? How do you even come back from being set up by your own artists and their father? And also, does Pooh Shiesty's team have any defense against the electronic monitoring that places him at the scene? The Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty DOJ filing. Detailed look at Dallas studio ambush and the AK-47 pow contract extortion allegations, and the shocking involvement of Pooh Shiesty's father as well. So let's go ahead and listen to this together, y'all. And this video is from none other than, as y'all can see, Law and Crime, the sidebar, with Jesse Weber. So let's listen to this together so we can get the full tea and the understanding on the legal aspect inside as far as what's really going down with Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty. Right. So let's go ahead and get into this, y'all, and I'm going to meet y'all in the chat.
New legal case on her hands. The alleged robbery and kidnapping of rapper Gucci Mane.
This case should serve as a warning to others who believe that using violence and intimidation tactics to rob others in our community is a viable way to conduct business. I'm here to say that it is not, and that if you choose to do this, we'll bring you swiftly to justice.
Wait until you hear not only the allegations, but the evidence, surveillance, Instagram accounts, fingerprints. It is something to say the least. We have the criminal complaint that lays out everything, and we're going to break it all down for you right now. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, I have to share this. Some really exciting news, okay? We've spent so much time together here at Law and Crime obsessing over every wild twist, late night case that we wanted to find a way to get you even closer to the action. That is why we're finally launching Law and Crime Plus. This is your new go-to spot for thousands of hours of commercial-free episodes and exclusive case files where you can really dive into the evidence yourself. We really built this for the community of people that stay up late analyzing every detail while waiting for a verdict, so it's just as much as your space as it is ours. Go ahead, download the app, check out the features, let us know what you think. You can head on over to lawandcrimeplus.com today to snag our limited time deal for just $3.99 a month or $40.99 for the year. How do you even make sense of this headline? Rapper Gucci Mane was allegedly robbed and kidnapped by other rappers? So as the Department of Justice puts it in their release statement, quote, this week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, were federally charged for kidnapping and robbing at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas, announced United States Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Ryan Raybould. 8 of the 9 were arrested in Dallas, Texas, and Memphis, Tennessee. The charged defendants include Lontrell Williams Jr., a.k.a. Pooh Shiesty, Lontrell Williams Sr., Rodney Wright Jr., a.k.a. Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Terrence Rogers, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel. Actually, by the way, there was a press conference held yesterday, and I want you to listen to that moment where they talk about that one person who was missing in this, right? So there's people who's charged, but not everybody had been arrested. So this is United States Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Ryan Raybould.
One of the individuals that's been charged has not had his initial appearance yet, but agents are actively working to locate and bring him to court.
And I wanted to touch on that, actually. Eric Bushman with KRLD. Since there's one person you're still trying to get to come in, I guess it's on the arrest because it's initial appearance. You would have said that you're trying to work out. Because you're going public with this, are you afraid at all that that's going to hinder and eventually getting an individual in?
Agents are working to find him. The complaint has already been unsealed, and a number of these defendants have had their public hearing already, their initial appearance, and And so it's already out there that this individual has been charged. And so that information is in the public record. But I trust that the agents will be able to identify this person and find them and bring them to justice. Of course, that person can turn themselves in immediately.
And I have a 32-page criminal complaint that was filed in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas that I'm going to break down for you as simply as possible. I want you to know the allegations, the potential evidence, the parties, okay? Gives you an idea about what this case is about. And I got to say this before I even get into it. You're going to understand after I go through this why these individuals were arrested in light of this alleged evidence, but all of them are innocent until proven guilty. I got to say that because, again, you're going to listen to this and you might be saying, wow, the evidence against them is arguably really bad, but nothing has been proven as of yet. Okay, with that caveat, let's get into it. So this is an affidavit. It is a sworn statement from an FBI special agent in support of a criminal complaint. And this is the statement of probable cause that crimes were committed. Okay? It starts by claiming that on January 10th, 2026, the victims, who are only identified by initials, by the way, and they include RD, which we have to assume is Gucci Mane because his real name is Radrick Davis. They say they were robbed and kidnapped at gunpoint at a music studio in Dallas, Texas. Now, there was apparently a scheduled meeting between RD and suspect Lontrell Williams Jr. And apparently, this hip-hop artist is known as Pooh Shiesty, and he was reportedly signed to RD's record label 1017 Records. Now, this meeting was reportedly about a contract dispute. This is, again, according to prosecutors. And it seems that Williams Jr. wanted out. So the affidavit claims that when RD and the other alleged victims in this case and others go into this office building, they realize it's closed. So Williams Sr., this is apparently Williams Jr.'s father, was apparently trying to book a recording studio that day for his son and for RD to record music. Williams Sr. was apparently talking to this unidentified individual just known as JN, another player in this, who owns the studio. It's inside this office building. So now you get the geography, what we're talking about here. So the affidavit includes apparent stills from surveillance footage that arguably shows Williams Sr. speaking to someone on the phone outside the building. I'm going to give you a little preview here. There are a lot of stills in this criminal complaint. And by the way, that helps corroborate the details. It helps corroborate the timeline. It helps corroborate the events that are laid out when you have purportedly time-stamped stills of this surveillance video. Now, an assistant reportedly arrives to help with production at 3:39 p.m. that day, and the affidavit claims that this father and son duo, the Williams, is arguing with somebody on the phone. Okay, they're arguing. And I'm going to read you this verbatim. Quote, at approximately 3:43 p.m., Williams Jr. and Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, Glover, and McDaniel entered the east side of the office building. The target suspects walked through the lobby area of the office building before going inside the studio. One individual with a dreadlock hairstyle, later identified as Gibson, can be seen on video exiting the office building and shortly thereafter returning with a bag slung over his shoulder. Again, embedded in this complaint are the apparent surveillance stills, okay? Now, the affidavit claims they go into the studio where the victims were, the alleged victims were, and there are stills, by the way. They included the studio lobby, the control room, the recording room. And at one point, it is alleged that Williams Jr., who was, by the way, I was blown away by this detail, was allegedly wearing an ankle monitor, okay, goes to speak to RD privately about the contract. I'll talk about the ankle monitor in a second. But there is allegedly an argument, and it ends up with Williams Jr. being accused of taking out a black AK-style pistol and pointing it at RD, allegedly demanding he sign the contract release paperwork. Now, RD allegedly complied, signed it. Again, we're assuming this is Gucci Mane. And there was the claim that RD, seemingly Gucci Mane, was not allowed to leave as he was being held at gunpoint. There are allegations that Wright allegedly recorded RD.
My. So I don't mean to say that, in any typical way to, copy somebody, but I'm just saying, it really made me feel like saying that. My. So, wow. we're gonna keep going, y'all. We're gonna keep listening to this. I'm not gonna keep interrupting, but I got to every now and then, to give some commentary and stuff. And so, interesting. Now, one of the things that most stuck out to me, that came up in my mind, like while hearing this, right, is like, okay, we talking about somebody signing a contract, someone who's trying to be an artist to someone who has this record label, this record company, and they signing a contract. But one of the things that stood out to me, not even about this certain story, but just about how people move and operate when it comes to doing this type of business and wanting to force people into it. I remember an interview and I remember a conversation that Rihanna had. And Rihanna was just a, 15, 16-year-old girl. And she said basically that she was, here in this building or whatnot to sign, paperwork for a record deal. They really wanted her real bad. And basically it's almost like she was being shook down and threatened and intimidated at the early age of 15, 16 years old, that she had no choice. She would have to sign that contract and that paperwork with that, record label. And I believe she said that it was kind of supposed to be meant or joked about that she can either leave out of the front door if she signs, or if she doesn't sign, she can leave out of the window. And it was a multi-tier high building, right? So that means like you're going out a window of like a 14, 15 floor story building. What do you think is going to come from that, right? So this reminds me of a story that she told when it comes to that. So this is typically something that it seems like happens with some of these people when it comes to getting these artists to sign with their label, with their company and stuff like that. It's like if you don't do or sign or, decide to be with that said record label or company, there are consequences, that can be very detrimental for your life and your safety. I think that's nasty work. That is nasty work. That's crazy work. That's wild work. That's dirty work. It's all of the works, right? That you're forcing somebody or telling somebody, or putting them in a position where they should be fearful and scared for their life unless they sign and they work and rock with you. That's what I'm getting from a lot of this. And I think this is crazy that artists have to go into, some of these, record labels and companies and places and spaces, and like their lives that's being put on the line and threatened on the line if they do not sign, if they do not stay, and if they do not choose to work with these companies or music execs, And I can't believe, that really is a thing. But, what they say, money talks, you know what I'm saying? And then makes things move and shake. And so you think about a teenage girl that's like 15, 16 years old when it comes to Rihanna, right? Telling that story. And she's laughing about it later because sometimes you got to laugh to keep from crying. But that's got to be a scary position to be in, that somebody's telling you, you can either sign this contract with our record label here and leave out of the front door on foot, or you don't sign it and you can leave and exit out of this building via the window from like the 15th or 14th floor. That's a threat. That's a threat to somebody's life and safety. And you're doing that because you're basically trying to force these people into something that they should have the open choice to decide whether they want or not, whether they want to work with it and rock with it and sign with it, or they want to walk. But what are we saying here? What are we saying here? That people are being like really being held at ransom. You know what I'm saying? Like they really being stuck up for them to sign and partner with somebody's record label. Like their lives is being threatened for them to sign with a record label. That's crazy work. So anyway, y'all, let's keep going. Let's keep going because this is interesting. And it's interesting, but it's also very sad and unfortunate. But it is interesting because we're getting the details here with this. So let's keep listening together. I'm going to meet you on the chat.
Signing the paperwork and being forced to say he released Williams Jr. from the contract. And then afterwards, it's alleged that Williams Jr. took RD's wedding ring and watch and earrings and cash. I do wonder if they have that video. Okay, I do wonder if they have that. But I'm going to read you verbatim again from the complaint. Waters, Rogers, Johnson, Glover, McDaniel, and Gibson produced handguns or AR-AK style pistols and began to demand property from BP and MM. BP was pushed onto a couch in the control room while an individual known to BP as CMO Dam Fu and part of Williams Jr.'s crew searched his pockets and stole his wallet. BP's chain and a necklace were stolen from his neck. McDaniel threatened to shoot BP for moving, but Williams Jr. instructed McDaniel not to. MM was choked from behind to the point of nearly losing consciousness during the kidnapping and robbery, resulting in scratches on his neck and wrist. Now, embedded in the complaint are what appear to be photos seemingly showing cuts or abrasions on MM's neck and wrist, and there is a claim that his wallet and watches and a Louis Vuitton bag and headphones were stolen. And if you're wondering about the security, right, didn't they have security with him? Well, the claim is that the victim's security realized they were outnumbered and outgunned. Goes on to say, quote, RD was pushed onto the couch in the control room. Again, we're talking seemingly about Gucci Mane, causing the victims to believe they were going to be executed. Williams Jr. placed the barrel of a firearm to the back of BP's head and ordered him and RD to leave the control room and the studio through the west entrance of the office building. RD then instructed CW and TD to escort them to their vehicle. As the victims left, MM turned to Williams Jr. and asked him if they were really taking his watches. Based on later recovered surveillance video footage, the target suspects left the studio and the office building through the east entrance at approximately 4:48 p.m. And from there, the affidavit lays out the photos of the alleged suspects purportedly leaving the building and also the cars that were believed to be connected to them traveling northbound. Now, how did they find the alleged suspects? So this is really interesting. We're going to start with vehicle identification. So the affidavit claims that Wright's father owns a 2020 Dodge Charger Hellcat with Tennessee plates. The authorities apparently use license plate readers to track the Charger following another car, a Dodge Ram. We're talking about 2:18 p.m. on January 10th. And they claim that that Dodge Ram looks like the one on surveillance video near the crime scene later that afternoon. They apparently used license plate readers to also link the Charger traveling very close to a white Buick Enclave, and using rental records, they determined that the Enclave was rented by Williams Sr. Let's go to electronic location monitoring. Remember when I said the ankle monitor for Williams Jr.? Well, apparently, he was serving a sentence for federal drug and weapons charges. Home detention, had to wear an electronic monitoring device. So they're able to use location data from that device to seemingly track his apparent movements near the crime scene. And then the affidavit claims that Williams Sr. and Williams Jr. went to a Staples store earlier in the day. Why? The allegation is to print off the contractual release paperwork, which again was a key part of this whole alleged dispute and incident. Now, the feds say surveillance video and GPS data put them there. Cell phone records. You know these are always key in a criminal investigation, right? I'm going to read you verbatim what it says. Stay with me. This is a big part. Investigators obtained cell phone records for Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, and Gibson, and telematics location data and records for the Dodge Charger Hellcat and the Dodge Ram. Records indicate Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, and Gibson traveled together from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas, Texas in the Dodge Charger Hellcat and the Dodge Ram. They left Memphis on January 8th, 2026 and arrived in Dallas in the early morning hours of January 9th, 2026. The data from Glover's electronic monitoring device aligns with these cell phone records. On January 10th, 2026, from approximately 2:28 p.m. to approximately 2:46 p.m., Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, the Dodge Charger Hellcat, and the Dodge Ram were in the area of the Windrose Tower, a location Williams Jr. resided prior to moving. They all traveled together to the area of a fenced location, meaning the crime scene, arriving at approximately 3 p.m. The data from Williams Jr.'s electronic monitoring device and location information for the Buick Enclave align with the cell phone records. Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, the Dodge Charger Hellcat, and the Dodge Ram traveled together from the area of the offense location, leaving at approximately 4:50 p.m. to the area of the Star in Frisco, Texas, arriving at approximately 5:07 p.m. Look how exact this is. Williams Jr., Williams Sr., Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, and Gibson utilized towers with coverage that includes the Star until approximately 9:30 p.m. The data from Williams Jr.'s electronic monitoring device and location information for the Buick Enclave aligned with the cell phone records. Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, the Dodge Charger Hellcat, and the Dodge Ram. I have to keep repeating it because I think it's important that you identify the different parties here and the different sources of location. Traveled together from the area of the Star in Frisco to the area of the Comfort Inn, where they remained overnight. Williams Jr. and Williams Sr. remained in the area of the Star overnight. Goes on to say, cell phone records indicate that on January 13, 2026, Wright, Johnson, and Waters traveled together with the Dodge Ram from Dallas, Texas to Memphis, Tennessee. So, if these allegations are true, you are seeing firsthand in detail how difficult it is in 2026 in an urban environment to commit a crime and not be tracked. This is a digital world, digital prosecution, and it can be very tough for defense attorneys to argue against the reliability of this data, particularly if you're combining different forms of data, cell phone with surveillance, with GPS monitoring, right? But you heard the Comfort Inn, by the way, according to the affidavit. The Comfort Inn records confirm, or allegedly confirm, that Gibson paid for 4 rooms at the hotel. So now you have financial records, documentation. Investigators reviewed surveillance footage from the Comfort Inn and observed Wright, Johnson, Waters, Rogers, Gibson, Glover, McDaniel inside the Comfort Inn, all clad in clothing similar to what the suspects in the kidnapping and robbery appeared to be wearing. And in the affidavit are literal side-by-side comparisons of the alleged players, what they were seemingly wearing at the crime scene versus what they were seemingly wearing at the Comfort Inn. Again, all allegations, but you see why this is building up. Now, there's also a section about how investigators found prints. So we're talking fingerprints, latent prints of Gibson and Rogers on these red Solo cups too that were apparently left at the crime scene. We move on to social media. This one's...
All right, y'all. So this is crazy. Like, we talking about the digital world. We're talking about the internet. We're talking about the mobile, and the digital footprints of everything. Child is out there. And this is how it happens. This is literally how it happens. And we have a professional lawyer right now from the crime reports, law and crime, excuse me, y'all. Sidebar, this is Jesse Weber. If y'all have not checked him out, y'all got to check him out. Y'all. He's dope. He's telling you, he's breaking this stuff down for real, for real. This is how it really works and how it can go down. And so one of the major things is like, we talking about Gucci Mane versus Pooh Shiesty in the Dallas studio Betrayal. This is the name of the game, right? This is what happened. So let's talk about the legal facts and the receipts, because receipts is very important. So let's talk about the indictment. So on April 2nd, 2026, a 32-page federal indictment was unsealed in the Northern District of Texas. 9 people, including Pooh Shiesty, who is Lontrell Williams Jr., and Big 30, who is Rodney Wright Jr., are charged with conspiracy to commit kidnapping and robbery. That's what's happening. That's what they're talking about. That's what's going down. Now, here's the setup. Now, on January 10th, 2026, Gucci Mane, identified as RD in the court documents, was lured to a Dallas studio for what he thought was a peace talk about Shiesty's 1017 contract. Now here's the extortion. Once he got inside, feds say Shiesty pulled out a pow on him and forced him to sign a contract release while at pow point. Big 30 allegedly recorded the whole thing on the phone, on the cell phone, forcing Gucci to state on camera that he was releasing Shiesty of his own free will. Right? They ran up on him. They strong-armed him. That's what they did. They strong-armed him. But we'll get into it. I have my thoughts and feelings and opinions as well. But this is what basically they talking about went down. So now let's talk about the robbery part. After the paperwork was signed, the crew allegedly stripped Gucci of his wedding ring. They snatched his jewelry, child, his watches, his earrings. A security head was choked to near unconsciousness, while the rest of the crew went around and, seeing what they could find within the room that they could snatch as well, such as Rolexes and, cash that may be laying around stashed. Now, let's talk about the ankle monitor. In the ultimate foe, Pooh Shiesty happened to be on home confinement for a previous Florida case. Federal agents used his electronic monitoring data to prove he was at that studio during the exact minutes and time of this said robbery, right? So these electronic devices, y'all, they always listening and they're always recording. And sometimes when you got them on you and stuff like that, you never know what they're picking up on, but it can be used as proof of evidence for you to be in a certain place at a certain time. People must remember that. So then they also have the staple receipts. The feds had found a receipt showing that Shiesty's father, who is Lontrell Williams Sr., went to a Staples store just hours before the meeting that he had there with Gucci Mane to print out the very contract termination papers used during the extortion. So I guess that would allude to premeditation, but they had a plan. This was the plan. They were doing things prior on in that day to get done, to have into place for this plan of what, they were trying to bring to fruition. But I have my thoughts and feelings and opinions on this. I really, really do. But this is how it went down, right? Okay. So now we have, and we'll listen to a little bit more of the video, but we also got to talk about the snitching allegations that's been against Gucci. So the internet is currently turning on Gucci Mane. Why? Because the federal complaint reveals that the victims, including Gucci, identified the suspects by their Instagram handles and all of these things, right? So Gucci was giving out all the information as the, people were asking him to do so. He gave out these people information, their socials and everything. Now, is it snitching when your own artist is pulling up on you with pals, stealing some of your, items and jewelry and stuff, such as your wedding rings and your watches and all of these things, your chains? Or is Gucci Mane just being a businessman and letting the feds handle this situation as they should handle it and see fit? Now, we also got to talk about the inside job and the father's role. So, this wasn't just a random hit. It was a family affair. Shiesty's father was allegedly the logistics man. So he got the mental capacity, y'all. He the one that's like, all right, I understand my son, he may be a street dude, whatever, boop, 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 a gangster, but legally, I know how to get this thing done and how to make these moves and operations and stuff. So they saying that he kind of really was more so the one behind the plan, right? How to do this thing and carry it out. So how does a father allow his son, who just got out of prison in late 2025, to just literally throw his life away by setting up the man who actually is the one responsible for making him a star? Is this toxic? What do y'all think? In management and rap history, what do y'all think about this? You know what I'm saying? But there is another side to it as well. Now, when it comes to the legal defense strategy, here's the narrative. We got a high-profile attorney, Bradford Cohen, who also represented Kodak Black. And he's arguing that the 3-month delay between the incident and the arrest proves that the government case seems a little bit weak, right? He claims that the victim stories don't match the forensic evidence. This is what he's saying. And this is a very high-profile attorney, Bradford Cohen. Now, if the feds had the ankle monitor data on day one, why did they wait 3 months later to make a move? Is there a hole in the story here that we're not seeing yet? Let's go ahead and go back to the video and see y'all, because I'm telling you, when it comes to law and crime sidebar with Jesse Weber, he breaks it all down. I'm just telling y'all, you know, what I'm picking up and what I'm taking from it. But let's let him talk because he is the professional here. He's a lawyer. So he's going to break down how all of this stuff went down and how it looks on one side or the other. So let's get back into this, y'all, and we'll be right back.
Next level. Okay. So apparently investigators compare the descriptions of Williams Jr. from the victims, like how they described him, to an Instagram account at Pooh Shiesty. And investigators say it shows a match. And they end up doing that for Williams Sr. and Wright and Waters, and how even there are photos apparently of them together online, and how they even match state IDs with these accounts too. And I got to call out Rogers here. Quote, on surveillance footage from the offense location, the individual believed to be Rogers can be seen exiting the building carrying what appears to be the Louis Vuitton bag reportedly stolen. On January 15th, 2026, so just a few days later, Rogers posted a video on @DamnFool375 showing him wearing a Rolex GMT Master 2 with an oyster steel band that appears visually similar to the watch stolen from who provided investigators with photographs, a receipt, and the serial number for the stolen watch. Additional posts on @DamnFool375 show Rogers wearing shoes similar to those he wore during the offense. And they embed photos allegedly showing this too. From Glover's Instagram, here's a sample. January 11th, 2026, a story featuring a large amount of cash, a Rolex visually similar to the one stolen from and a location tag of Dallas, Texas, January 17th, 2026. A story showing Glover with a Rolex that appears identical to the one stolen from stating he got a new rope, believed to be slang for watches or necklaces. January 19th, 2026, videos of Glover wearing a necklace with a 1017 pendant that appears identical to the one stolen from BP. So the allegation being you didn't only steal all this, you flaunted it. Now, defense attorneys would say, not the same necklace, they own this. These are kind of rare items, though, particularly if you're talking about that Rolex. And I'm sure they could have a dispute about whether or not these items were actually stolen or not. But again, timing, circumstances, the potential rarity of these items, something to keep in mind. Innocent until proven guilty, problematic. Now, something else that I have to note that may be used as evidence later on. So when you apparently go to these guys' like Instagram pages, from what I could see, they're pretty much scrubbed. They might have a couple posts still up, but that appears to be it. You know, Shiesty still has a lot on it, so it's kind of hard to tell if stuff is gone from that. But if prosecutors can prove that they deleted stuff to potentially destroy evidence or try to hide from authorities, that will be interesting. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe it was deleted after their arrest for some reason or after the charges. I don't really know, but it's something I've noticed. And then in this paperwork, they do something that I think is really interesting. And I'll just say kind of refreshing, because in this criminal complaint, at least for my analysis purposes, they really list out the evidence against each defendant very clearly. So, for example, Lantrell Williams Jr., eyewitness accounts state that Williams Jr. brought RD into the recording studio and demanded that RD sign the release contract at gunpoint before taking RD's wedding ring, watch, earrings, and cash. Eyewitness accounts also place Williams Jr. in the room when the additional kidnapping and robberies of and BP occurred. Cell phone records, electronic location monitoring, and surveillance footage place Williams Jr. at the offense location. Electronic location monitoring data also places Williams Jr. at a Staples location with his father, believed to be printing the termination contract prior to arriving at the offense location. And they do this again for every one of the defendants. And then it goes on to say, based on the facts set forth above, there is probable cause to believe that on January 10th, 2026, in the Dallas Division of the Northern District of Texas, DeMarcus Glover, Demarion Gibson, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, Terrence Rogers, Kadarius Waters, Lantrell Williams Jr., Lantrell Williams Sr., and Rodney Wright Jr. conspired to and committed kidnapping in violation of 18 USC 1201 A and C. By the way, when you hear like that they're together in the same room while there's other robberies going on, that's the agreement, right? Conspiracy is an agreement to commit a crime, and what were the overt steps taken in furtherance of that agreement. And my understanding, if convicted, each defendant faces a sentence of up to life imprisonment. This is again according to the DOJ. I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. There was a press conference that was held, and it happened yesterday. I want to play you some more sound from it, okay? It fills in some of the details. And again, this is the United States attorney when asked about the victims, and I think it's interesting what he says.
This case really underscores the importance of standing up for crime victims, no matter who they are or where they come from. And the incredible collaborative investigative partnerships that we have, not only in the Northern District of Texas, but across the country. And we are all working together to make our country safer. As far as victims go, we won't get into at this time who the victims are or not. I'm not going to get into the victim stuff at this time. I think that more will be coming out there that will help clarify, but I'm not at liberty at this stage of the investigation to disclose that.
Yeah, so at the time of this recording, authorities haven't come out and absolutely said this allegedly happened to Gucci Mane. There are protections of victims in every state and every prosecution, so you have to keep that in mind. But you know how I mentioned the evidence, right? This is the U.S. attorney talking about that evidence and the punishment.
That was one of the reasons I wanted to list off some of the evidence that has been uncovered to date. A lot of this was subpoena work, search warrant work, and things like that in order to develop the investigation. And so the agents here with me, the agents out in the field, it takes a little bit of time to identify who did this offense and build a case so that we feel comfortable bringing the charges. So actually that's pretty quickly for a federal case of this gravity and this nature. And so I'm very proud of the investigative work and it will continue from this office as well as our FBI and our local police department.
If convicted of these charges, these arrests, how serious are these crimes? What do these people face?
They're facing a range. So there's no mandatory minimum in this case. It's a range of punishment and it'll be in the province of the judge, whoever gets the case. But it could be from 0 all the way to life imprisonment. And as you know, a lot of what will guide what's called the sentencing guidelines will be the individual's previous criminal history, the fact that one of these individuals committed the offense while on home confinement, so actually serving a federal offense, assuming that individual is convicted, that will be an aggravating factor for sure.
Big case, big developments, big evidence. We'll continue to monitor what happens next. But that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check us out on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. See you next time, everybody.
All right, y'all. So my. That was a lot. But I did have a few things that I want to talk about before we get to our next video. Moving a little slow here. I'm trying to go a little bit faster. We got to talk about the updates with Diddy as well and this new shocking prison sentence that he has. So we're going to get into that. But right before we get into that, I want to just talk a little bit about what is happening, okay? So let's talk about the legal facts. So we got Gucci Mane versus Pooh Shiesty in April of 2026, okay? So the charges on April 2nd, 2026, federal prosecutors in Dallas indicted 9 men, including Pooh Shiesty and Big 30, on charges of conspiracy to commit kidnapping and robbery. Okay, now what is the motive? The DOJ explicitly stated the motive was a contract dispute. Okay, now we know artists and record labels and all of these things, right? They have these contract disputes sometimes. So Shiesty allegedly wanted to be released from his 1017 records deal, but couldn't reach a civil agreement, right? So there also was this ankle monitor fail. Unfortunately, Pooh Shiesty was on federal home confinement at the time while he was trying to be released from this said record deal. Prosecutors are using his GPS tracking data to prove that he was inside the Dallas studio during the exact 20-minute window of this said ambush. Also, his father helped aid and assist. Shiesty's father, Lontrell Williams Sr., is now also charged. Feds found a receipt showing that he did go to a Staples just hours before the meeting to print out the very contract termination papers that Gucci was forced at point to sign. Okay, so Pooh Shiesty is trying to get out of his contract with Gucci. They tried to do it the civil way. Gucci was not allowing it to happen, so they decide they're going to take matters into their own hands and go in, the street way. Okay, so why do y'all think this is happening? Okay, recoupment is a debt. Most fans don't realize an advance is just a loan. If labels give artists certain amounts of money, such as $500K, the artist doesn't see a dime of that royalty money until the $500K plus recording, marketing, and travel costs and all of that is paid back, right? So you can get into a contract with a record label or something like that. You can be working, you can be making music, you can be touring, you can be doing shows, and all of that money, whatever it is, they foot you at the door that you don't have until you pay that back, and sometimes plus more, and you're not going to see any money, right? And a lot of artists don't like that. So the perpetual option, many contracts have options that only the label can trigger sometimes. An artist can be finished with their work, but still locked in for several more years if the label decides that they want more. This is the fine print. You got to read it. You got to be up on it, right? And, all of those things. This is happening to a numerous amount of artists. We can talk about it. We can do a whole live on it of artists that talked about this is what happens in the music industry. Also, no exit strategy. So under the U.S. contract law, you cannot just quit a record deal because it's feeling unfair and you're not getting out of it what you thought you should, right? Based off of what you signed on that dotted line with the contract. Unless there is a material breach, like the label is not paying you at all, or you are legally property of that label. This is a feeling of being owned, and this is what leads a lot of people to the desperation that we are seeing, right? Because this is what these labels do. They are not paying artists at all, right? Even though it's like, yeah, we understand. They foot the bill. They put this money up, because, they say they believe in you and you're going to be this great artist and you're going to be big and amazing and all of the things, right? So they're footing the bill because they got the money, right? And you out here working your butt off, singing, rapping, touring, doing all the things, and you're not seeing any money back. You're not seeing any fruits of your labor, right? And they also make you feel like, well, you can't go nowhere else and you can't stop being on this hamster wheel because you signed this contract. So now we own you. So a lot of artists, when they start feeling like their backs is pushed up against the wall when it comes to this, they sometimes get in desperation mode. And they try to sit down and have conversations in a civil way and explain, some of their gripes and things like that. And try to be like, okay, this is not working for me. I think I might want to just get on out of this. I want to just, end this here contract and, agreement that we have and, go on and try something else and do something else elsewhere. Well, because they have signed a contract, a lot of times these agencies or these record labels and these people tell them, no, you can't go. You cannot go. You can't work with anybody else. Even though you have this gripe because you're saying you're not getting no money or nothing, you should have read the fine print. That's just how it works. They'll tell that. They'll feed that to them. So let's talk about somebody historically who went through this experience and some names that this is big, in the sector of music and contracts and all these things. Let's talk about Vanilla Ice and the balcony. So, legend has it that Suge Knight dangled Vanilla Ice off of a 15th floor balcony to get him to sign over royalties for Ice Ice Baby. Vanilla Ice later said it was just a threat, but the results were the same. He didn't have no choice. He had to sign. If somebody's dangling you off a balcony, you want your life. You don't want to be let loose to where you just splatter on the bottom of however much up high you are. So you just are a coward into doing what these people want you to do and what they ask of you, right? So you have to sign. We also remember the NWA breakup. Suge Knight also and his crew reportedly used lead pipes and baseball bats to persuade Eazy-E to release Dr. Dre and the DOC from their Ruthless record contracts in 1991. That's what Suge Knight used to do, right? He used to go around and he used to pull in the muscle and the power and get these people, free from these terrible contracts and situations that they were stuck in with some of these, agencies and these people, right? So did Pooh Shiesty look at Suge Knight as a blueprint for how to get his freedom, forgetting that, unfortunately, the feds and the GPS and social media, such as Instagram and all of the places, are very heavily involved and, are working now and watching now. Okay. So let's talk about street litigations versus legal litigations, because there's two different litigations. So if a label that you signed to, and I don't know if you read and it said that they were going to take this amount or if they just kind of slid it in there up under your nose. But if a label that you signed to is taking 80% of the money that you are earning and you are making based off of your talent and the work and the stuff that you do, and they will not let you go from their agency, right, or from their label, because you're saying you're getting 80%, that means I'm only getting 20%, but I'm doing all of the work, right? Where does my cut become fair? Where does it make sense for me as far as the level of work that I'm putting in and I'm doing? Why am I not seeing dollar signs and money in my account that makes sense as far as the work that I'm doing and the talent that I'm bringing, right? Do you think that violence is an inevitable outcome of a broken system? Like, if these people are not willing to reason with you when it comes to having these type of civil conversations, do you think the next step is to turn to violence and try and get out and do what you gotta do to get yourself free? Do you feel as though these artists should be held as prisoners within not just a business contract, but it's almost like they own your life and your existence, you as a person? This is giving modern day slavery, And the thing about it is, and I've always said this when it comes to the, like music industry and industries like this, it is a form of modern day slavery. The only difference is every now and then they'll trickle you down nice things or a little piece of cash or something like that, to where you can buy certain things. You can get your wardrobe up. You got a certain type of core that's new and fancy, a certain type of house, square footage, and you're getting all of those things, right? So you're actually getting something back. Unlike how slaves were, they really didn't get anything but scraps and beaten, but you're still being put in a predicament where you're being treated like a slave. But because they're giving you things that you like, things that are flashy and flaunty and all of that, then that's supposed to make you, just shut up and be quiet, because you're getting these said things, but you're still getting treated like a slave because you're not getting all of the worth that you're putting in for the work that you do. Well, some people will say violence is never the answer, because as we see with Pooh Shiesty, it leads to a life sentence, troubles and stuff in the jail system or the prison system. So basically they're saying that he traded a bad contract, right, and fighting against that to a prison cell where he may have to spend, a long period of time in, which also leads you to being a prisoner. So it's almost like either way, you're a prisoner in some shape or form, right? But it depends on what type of, I don't know, what type of, prisoning is more comfortable. Like, you know that you're working and you're earning and you should be making more money than you should be making, and people are cheating you out of your money, but yet you still have your freedom, right? To walk around, to go to places, to eat and have a family and a life, right? But your integrity, is making you feel like, yo, these people are playing in my face. They hustling me, and I ain't trying to be hustled, right? But then when you fight against that and you get into legal problems, right? Now you're going to jail, especially if you're already in trouble already. Like, that's just gonna make it worse. But even if you're not in trouble already, you can get in trouble for the first time, and it still can end you up behind bars for making decisions like trying to, attack or pull a pow out on somebody, or snatch them and throw them in your trunk or anything like that. If you get caught, then now you in some real heavy legal troubles, and you're probably most likely, if you get caught, going to prison. So you're still going to be a slave or a prisoner in some shape or form. Instead of being a paid slave, you're like an unpaid slave with less freedom. So is it really worth it, is what people ask. Now, do you think that labels need to be more transparent? If the industry didn't use predatory language, artists wouldn't feel the need to use predatory tactics, right? So like these industries and companies and stuff, and record labels, y'all making false promises to these artists and putting false clauses of promises for these artists into the contracts and the paperwork. And then they're signing because they're believing, a certain thing. But then when that doesn't come to fruition, or too much time goes by and nothing seems to be panning out or paying out properly, or they getting a short end of the deal, do you think that the labels are, lying about these things up front? Or do you think they're just putting it in, let's just say language that a lot of the artists don't understand? So when they read it, it's just like, okay, they're not asking and inquiring more. Well, what does this clause mean? What does this right here mean? What does this represent? How is this going to go out to be for me? They may not understand the language, and they may just scroll right over it and sign because they're so excited to sign and have a shot and have a chance and all of these things, right? But they're not really looking into deeply and properly, what the fine print says and what some of these big words and clauses mean. So do you think it's the artist's fault? Should they go in a little bit more mentally prepared and education wise, knowing more about and doing their research before they're just signing their name on these contracts? Do you think that these labels are shady and shiesty and they're not doing even what was in the contract and effing them over anyway? What do y'all think about this? So let's talk about the Gucci Mane angle. So Gucci Mane is being called a rat by some people. He's also a businessman who survived the 2005 Jeezy beef. So is he snitching, or is he just refusing to play the street game in 2026, right? Because we know Gucci, we know Jeezy, we know Pooh Shiesty, we know these is all street dudes. They from the streets. You know what I'm saying? Period. That's where they started, and then they got into the music industry and the rap, industry and stuff like that. Now, Gucci seeing himself now as a businessman, he's not trying to necessarily move and operate with the street mentality no more. Now he's taking it to the law. And so because he's taking it to the law, a lot of people are saying like, yo, he a rat. You know what I'm saying? Like he weak. He over here, turning people into the police and, taking to the law or whatnot to handle an issue. But back when he was in the streets, he wouldn't handle it like that. He would have handled it differently and most likely understood where Pooh Shiesty is coming from, because he probably would have handled his business the same way back then. Remember, what's that song? Hold on one second, y'all. What's that song Gucci Mane had back in the day when he first came out? These daggone dogs, stop fighting. I'm sick of y'all fighting. Sit down. I'm trying to do something. What was that song? He had several songs and stuff when he first came out. But you know what I'm saying? That one song he had, I can't remember. It's like, where it was like an ice cream truck or something like that shop, and they had the ice cups and stuff like that. Gucci Mane had a lot of songs and stuff when he first started out, where it was like hood vibes. You know what I'm saying? We know we come from the hood. We know, we come from the ghetto and stuff like that. And I believe that if he was in that same position at that time, he probably would have responded the same way, in a younger Gucci Mane version. But now he's older, he's richer, he's a businessman. He want to be on the up and up. He's like, y'all, he ain't taking it to the streets. He's going to do things legally. Well, Pooh Shiesty, I believe, is a bit younger than Gucci Mane. He's still probably heavily in the streets. You know what I'm saying? His dad's about that life too. And they like, yo, we feel like we getting effed over. We want up out of this. We tried to talk to you civilly about it. You wasn't trying to listen. So now we're going to have to take it to the next level. You know what I mean? So, the street litigation trap. Why are all rappers like Pooh Shiesty allegedly using, weapons, AK-47s and stuff like that to get out of contracts? Well, we explored the history of violence in music deals, from Suge Knight to the 2026 Gucci Mane kidnapping case, and break down the vulture contracts that makes artists feel like they have no other choice. What do y'all think is the biggest problem when it comes to a lot of this? Is it the fact that these music companies and industries and owners and stuff of said companies are effing over artists and not treating them fair and being, and doing good work, just trying to be the hustler gang so they can make money off of their back, and give them a little small piece of crumb and just tell them they supposed to be satisfied with that when they know their worth? And then if they try to be civil with you and talk to you and like, yo, we need to rearrange this business deal because I don't like how it's working. Now, should artists be doing that up front? Or if it does come a time where, okay, maybe up front, they didn't necessarily have that conversation, but now later they want to renegotiate. Do you think that they should have the option to be able to renegotiate, some of their contracts and things like that? Now that they know better or they've been, advised better, should that be able to happen in a civil way? And should these industries, these record labels and these owners be fair and hear these people out and come up with some type of compromise instead of being so greedy and wanting to, snatch up all the majority of the coin for themselves and, trickle pennies over the actual artist that's doing all of the work? Now, I understand a contract is a contract. I know what a contract is. And it is unfortunate that in 2026, we still have artists that are being fooled by signing these bogus ass contracts and not reading them fully, and seeing like what the cut is going to be and all of the things, right? We have seen so many artists since the beginning of time being fooled this way. We've seen so many artists speak out over time about how they've been, or fell into these type of contract deals and stuff where it's not paying off for them financially. It's not. And a street dude is going to do what a street dude know how to do. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of get it from that standpoint. But I'm asking also for clarity when it comes to the business standpoint. Like, I do think there's a small certain level of accountability that needs to be taken by the artist, because like you have to read all of those paperworks. And I know it takes a long time and it's a lot of writing and it's many, many documents and it's boring. You'll probably be sitting there for hours and days reading it. But this is how you protect yourself from getting got by these people, because a lot of this stuff that they do to you, they put it in the contract that this is how it's going to go down sometimes. But you don't read all of it through because it's too much to daggone read. Somebody come there and they throw a daggone Bible, you know what I'm saying, in front of you and tell you you got 24 hours to sign. Who has anybody ever read the entire Bible in 24 hours? You know what I'm saying? Like, people are not having that much time to sit around or wanting to spend that much time to sit around reading a long, long document like that. And a lot of these contracts are basically as long or as, big as a Bible. And so they don't read it all. And so those prints that they don't read and they don't see what's included in it, that's what gets them hemmed up and caught up to be in these predicaments where they're not getting paid fair, you know, that the record label and the owners and all of these things are getting the most of the money, and they're just getting a few shillings, even though they're doing all of the work and they are the ones with the talent. And so, you know, I think there's just somewhere in the middle, right? Like that we can be to like fix all of this. It's like, I hate the fact that there are these executives and these music industry people that, you know, even put those type of clauses in, right? So where it's like, yo, you getting 80% and the artist get 20%, make that make sense. Now, I might can understand 50-50 at some point. You know what I'm saying? I might can even understand 50-50. Let's just be clear with that. But 80-20, like, come on, bro. Y'all got to do better by people. Stop being greedy. Stop being snakes and snatchers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you knowing that you're a business person or you trying to be a business person. So it's like, okay, you know, you feel as though like what? You deserve more for that because you got what? If the talent is not there, nobody's making money. Let's be very clear about that. And then I also think that it's very important for artists to understand their work, because you got to understand as an artist, if you are the one with the talent, if you are the one with the skill, you know what I'm saying, then you have to be proud and know your worth, because you are the one that's putting the money on the table for everybody. Because of how you rap, how you sing, your style, your swag, all of those things. You got to believe in yourself. But see, this is the problem. And I understand it very well. A lot of the individuals that are coming in for the first time with this, they're coming from, like, you know, I know, because I understand. They're coming from the hood. They coming from where they never was told that they really was nobody or ever can be anybody or had any talent or was really great. You know, they wasn't getting bigged up all the time. They out here just trying to put food on the table and bring money into the household to help mama, to help grandmama, to support their children. And they may have multiple baby mamas and, you know, children and stuff like that. Whatever, that's people's business. It's not mine. But I understand that walk of life and that lifestyle where it's like you really, you know, sometimes you don't always have the confidence in yourself. You know, you might be like, well, maybe I think maybe I can do it. I can give it a try. I think I'm pretty good. But it's not like 10 toes down, like, yo, I'm busting down the door. I'm the shit, period. You're not going to pay me no less. You ain't going to talk to me crazy. Boo, boo, boo. I know what I bring to the table. A lot of people don't have that level of confidence because of the background and the life that they've lived. So they walk around sometimes always feeling like they're not enough anyway. They may come from backgrounds and households, and maybe even family members or people in the community that told them they'll never do anything or never be anything. And you constantly hear that in your mind, that breaks down your self-esteem. And so even if you do have a skill or something, somebody bets on you, oh my God, like you get so, you're so excited because you're like, wow, somebody finally sees that I can actually be something, and they'll boost you up, they'll gaslight you, they'll tell you all of those things. That come with the program, right? They say, yo, you gonna blow up, man. I ain't never heard no lyrics like this. I ain't never heard nobody rap like this. I ain't never seen nobody dance like this. Boom, boom, boom. You know, they'll tell you all those things. That's part of the game. That's part of the song and dance that they do. And if somebody has never been told that, imagine how meaningful that is to them when they finally hear it. So they're going to trust that person. They're going to like that person. They're going to love that person. They're going to want to work with that person. You know, shut up, Tino. And so sometimes that's what it can be about. You know what I mean? That there's a lack of just like self-confidence and stuff like that with certain individuals, you know, based off of where they come from. And when we seeing how these things are playing out, we see these people are from, you know, just like where I'm from. I'm not saying it's going to look down on nobody, because that's where I'm from the hood, from the ghetto, from cities and areas that's impoverished, you know what I mean? Ain't got much money, much opportunity and stuff. Had to struggle all your life. And now you finally get your big break, and you got this person over here that really is just hustling you because they trying to make money off your back. But the way they talk to you, the way they believe in you, it matters. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels good because you never heard nobody say that to you before. All your life you wanted to do music, and everybody used to tell you, you know, you making that music, you down there trying to make these songs and write these lyrics and make these beats. You ain't never gonna be nothing. You ain't never gonna go nowhere. You're wasting your time. You need to go out here and get a job so you can get some. Come on now. Y'all know we've heard these talks. We've heard these talks. Sometimes even from the parents. Yes, absolutely, yes. So then you get some big wig coming in looking all fly, riding in some limousine, all nice clothes and money and stuff, telling you that your skills, your talents, and your abilities are wonderful. You're going to blow up. You're going to be a star. You can get your family out the hood. You can get your family out the circumstance they live in. You believe that person because you never been told that before. Nobody believed in you before, but they know that's how they get you. That is how they get you because they know that you're in that circumstance. They know that you got that mindset. So all they got to come along and do is just pretend and say good things, whisper sweet nothings in your ear, and then snatch all your money. And then when you realize that you're being robbed, well, what is a person from the hood of the streets going to do that they know how to do? Fight. Now, they tried to be civil, they said. They tried to be civil, but the civil didn't work. So then they had to take it to the streets. You know what I mean? So anyway, y'all, let's just take a quick song break. If y'all feel me, if y'all feel what I'm saying, y'all let me know what y'all think about, you know, this right here and what's going on. I see it for what it is. I see it on both sides. I see somebody who's like, and the thing about it that I think honestly is more heartbreaking is that Gucci Mane, sir, you were in that man's shoes at one point, right? You was the one that was looking for your big break. You was the one that was so happy probably that somebody said that, you know, you rap real good, your swag is great, boop, 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 come on in, we gonna let you blow up, boop, boop, boop. It's like sometimes people forget where they come from. They forget their humble beginnings, and then they get in a position where they turn around, and it's like, why you do somebody like that? Because you know that you probably had to jump through some of them hurdles too. And I talked about this with my mama the other day. It's a lot of people that be out there and they have this mindset as well. Well, if I went through it and I survived it, you can too. I don't like that type of mindset. If you have the position to make things different or better for somebody, then why not do that? Why sit there and watch somebody struggle and go through hard times and hell and high water? That's not right. And you know, coming from where you come from, you from the hood too. So why you going to turn around and do that to somebody? Then now all of a sudden, oh, you're such a businessman. You so rich and so prestige. Oh, now you just take it to the law. So you getting his life hemmed up for life, all because it was a shitty ass contract he had with you. And all they were trying to ask was, can we get out of this damn contract? Can you at least let us go? Like, we ain't even asking for you to give us no more or no less. Just let me loose, period. Woman, thou art loose. Man, thou art loose. Just let me loose. But you don't want to let nobody loose. You want to keep them prisoner? Wow. Knowing that we come from a history of our people being slaves that was being held prisoner, and you going to turn around and become what? Massa? I cannot. Let's take a song break, y'all. We got to move into our next topic. We'll be talking about Diddy and his shocking prison sentence, y'all. All right, y'all. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to play one of these new songs that I made. Y'all let me know what y'all think about it. We'll take a quick song break and we'll be right back. Thank y'all for listening.
They see the rust, yeah, hey, they see the rust, I see the veins of the ore. I'm the one they left for dead, now I'm back for the score. Counting my blessings while I'm counting the change. But the soul is 24 karat, I'm out of your range. You talking loud on the bus, I'm plotting silent in the back. Building a castle out of everything I lack. You think a queen needs a check just to carry the weight? I'm a monarch in the mud, you're a ghost at the gate. Ooh, they try to bury the shine, but the gold doesn't die, it just waits for the time. Now the air is getting cold. turning everything to gold. I want them gone, I want them ghost. I want them dead to division. They saw me climbing up the rope and tried to make a collision. I'm pulling masks off of the fakes. I want them dead to the mission. If you ain't with the movement, then you're just a ghost in the street. I won't stop until the crown is on my head. Solid gold, yeah. Same energy, different tax bracket. Hardest heart in the game, you can't crack it. You was laughing at the struggle, now you're looking for a hand. I don't negotiate with shadows, you don't understand. I'm the pressure in the cold, I'm the diamond in the rough. I'm a queen because I'm standing when the rest have had enough. No private jets, just a spirit taking flight. I'm the only thing that's glowing in the middle of the night. The price is paid, the debt is settled. I'm heavy metal. I want them gone, I want them ghosts. I want them dead to division. They saw me climbing up the rope and tried to make a collision. I'm pulling masks off of the facts. I want them dead to the mission. If you ain't with the movement, then you're just a ghost in the street. I'm gonna stop until the crown is on my head. Solid gold, gold queen.
All right, y'all. So we're gonna get into the next video in just a moment. I gotta play one more song real quick. I just gotta do something real quick in the back, y'all, and I'll be right back. But yeah, we're going to be getting into the Diddy updates, y'all, because y'all know. Well, I don't know if y'all know or if you don't know. We can say what we think or what we feel, but there are some real interesting things that are now being presented within this Diddy case, and I actually think he may walk free. But we'll talk about a little bit of that in just a moment, y'all. Let me just play this next song break. Give me just a few more moments and I'll be right back, okay? Thank y'all so much.
Yeah. You thought you was safe? Yeah. Yeah, you thought you was safe or good. Everybody looking for a home, looking for a click, looking for a place where the realness sticks. We out here building, trying to be free, but you just here to use them plain to see. I see you a user, a culture vulture, a leech, acting like you love the speech just so you can preach. You see the glow, you wanna get near it. You hear the soul, you try to engineer it. Wanna be in the circle, get the benefits, but you ain't put the work in. You just counterfeit. You a political operative, smiling in their face, just a snake in the grass, trying to take their place. We out here searching for a tribe, trying to be free, trying to live our best life, but the snakes stay close, wearing a disguise. Now you got mad, showed your true self, no surprise. You been pop, dumb bitches, read your rights. You been pop, dumb bitches, read your rights. Yeah. It's the activist in me that's gotta speak the truth. I'm allergic to the fake, been like this is my youth. See them in the comments, singing all the praise. Go sis, go, while they plotting in the haze. Plotting on a downfall, plotting on a spot. Thinking they can use a light to get what they ain't got. But you can't use a mirror, you can't use a queen. Your whole entire persona is a fucked up scene. You a resource sucker, energy drain. They bring the clouds, we just trying to bring the rain. But we see you, yeah, we see you. Your little mask is cracked and now you cornered, about to see how you searching for a tribe, trying to be free, trying to live our best life, but the snakes stay close, wearing a disguise. Now you got mad, showed your true self, no surprise. You been pop, dumb bitch, read your rights. You been pop, dumb bitch, read your rights. These people don't care about your life or your struggle, they just wanna break you down and make your hustle tumble. Now we see the true colors at the core of these people. Their whole foundation is evil. We at war and we question these people. Golden has love for her people, and I've been trying to warn people. This is the ugly truth of the world. Watching all the snakes uncurl. Here's the revelation, the part you should've known. A person's real character is when their anger's shown. You got pressed, you got mad. And all that fake ass love you had turned to poison. Jealousy and spite, they hate cause you that bitch and shining too bright. You ain't no friend, you just a hater in disguise. Walk past, head high, don't look them in the eyes. So here's the diss, you lost, you're done. Your fake support is over, your little game is run. You pop yourself, bitch, we ain't have to do a thing. Just sat back and watch you pull your own damn string. You been popped, you can't infiltrate this. Your mask is on the floor. Go pick up your shit. We out. We out. You kid. Yeah.
Judge Subramanian is back. He has begun officially delivering his sentence. He says to the court, he says to Sean Combs, at the outset, I want you to understand, Mr. Combs, you are not being sentenced for acquitted conduct. So he's not being sentenced for racketeering. He's not being sentenced for sex trafficking. But under 3553, which, by the way, is the federal statute regarding imposition of a sentence, under 3553, I must consider many things. Mr. Combs, you are a self-made artist who has inspired community of color. Okay, so we're stopping right there. We're waiting for these updates to come in real time. Serena, does that I'm going to tell you, there's a but, right? Yes, you've done many things, but, and that might not be good for Sean Combs.
When a judge gives any sort of remarks like that, there's always a but. And when you start hearing good things, be prepared for the flip side because it's coming. And I will say to your earlier comments about turning life around, this is a very different type of crime than your typical one-day event. Yes, he was a great guy in certain other aspects of his life, perhaps, but he was living a lifestyle of these crimes. It's very different from a defendant who appears in front of a judge who had one bad day, right? Got robbed one person, got into a fight with one person and stabbed that person. This was a lifestyle.
Okay, another update. Judge says, we saw the video. The free game course in the MDC, the court hopes you continue to expand it. You are devoted to your family. The court, of course, considers the collateral consequences. The court has to consider all of your history here. And that's true, by the way. The factors to be considered in imposing a sentence are and this is, I'm looking at the statute, the nature and circumstances of the offense, the history and characteristics of the defendant, the need for the sentence to be imposed, the kinds of sentences available, the kind of sentence and the sentencing range, any pertinent policy statement, the need to avoid unwarranted sentence disparities among defendants. So just looking for an update here. Okay. A history of good works can't wash away the record in this case. You abused these women. You used that abuse to get your way. Freak-offs and hotel nights. The evidence of the abuse is massive. I was sitting right here during the testimony. Joe, this isn't good for Sean Combs.
No, it's not good for Sean Combs because he started off with good stuff and he says, but on the other hand, you know what I mean? Because to my mind, it could be different, but a lot of times you start off with the part, not with the part that you're going to end with. You know what I mean? Here's the good news, but here's the bad news, and here we are because of the bad news, as opposed to here's the bad news, and here's the good news, and here's where we are because of the good news. I think the order of things may dictate that, he's going to come at him, and it's not going to be a low-end type sentence.
Sierra, this is very consistent with what we talked about before, where that video was being played of Sean Combs, where you look at his history of helping others, you look at his works in the community. You and I had talked about it. The argument would be, yes, but at the same time, he was committing crimes. Or after his apology video for Cassie, he was accused of committing crimes. It seems that the judge is being consistent with this. And I apologize if I have to cut you off if the judge says something, but your thoughts?
No, please do cut me off because I want the updates as much as you do, Jesse, and so do our viewers. But
I think it's confusing here, right? But two things can be true. P. Diddy can have all the love in the world for his children, and he can be a great dad to them. But on the other side of the coin, he did commit these acts, and it is violence. And I think the thing that was most telling to me from what we've heard. All right, let's hear that update, Jesse.
Sierra, I'm going to throw it right back to you, but this is the judge. This was subjugation. That is the reality of what happened. These offenses irreparably harmed two women. You plied them with drugs. Why did it happen so long? You had the power and resources to keep it going. You were more than a John. Again, Sierra, it was the idea of this happened so many times. I think that was something the judge was going to consider here.
And what he said very specifically is that I was sitting right here. I heard the testimony. And I think that is what is so vital when we were talking about the way that the judge was going to end up with all of this sentencing, is the fact that it wasn't today he decided it. It wasn't in the 3 months that he had to go through and read all of those letters. No, it was when he was sitting there in the courtroom, seeing Cassie and Jane and Mia and all of the testimony there, that this happened over and over again. It wasn't, to your point, to what Serena said earlier, this wasn't a one-time thing. This was a pattern of abuse that the prosecution put on and displayed, and then here we have a conviction. And so I do think that all of this is kind of running through Judge Arun Submaranian's mind as he's coming forth, putting down this sentence, because, I mean, it's really hard to ignore.
All right, Judge, this just came in. A significant sentence is required to deter. You say you're sorry and you won't do it again. After Miss Ventura's civil lawsuit was filed, after the video was public, an investigation started. You had a brutal hotel night with Jane, punched her in the head. Serena, that is the key here. That is something we have talked about during the course of the day. It didn't deter him. There were significant episodes that came out after the investigation, after the apology. He was arrested with materials in his hotel room that would indicate a freak off. I think we're looking here at maybe 5 to 7. I don't know yet. What can happen any second, but I think we're looking at significant prison time here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the judge makes an incredible note that, you've had the chance to deter. You were not deterred. You were given an opportunity over and over again, specifically during the investigation, and you can't be stopped. And if you can't be stopped, I'm going to have to be the one to stop you.
Yep. And by the way, the judge has considered his history. He said about the fact that, he became Sean Combs after his father died. That is especially impressive given the early violent death of your father and the trauma that must have left. So he's appreciating all this, but at the same time, he's hitting all the factors and he's talking about the evidence that came out during the course of this trial. He just said, Jane says he told her, take this pill, go out there, bleep his bleep, bleep him. I don't care. The court is not convinced this would not happen again. The court has considered the programs. They are outweighed by the trial record in this case. Now I'm wondering here, Joe, are we talking double digits?
I think we're going a little higher. We'll see how high we go. But 5 to 7 at least, and maybe even a little bit more. That's what it's sounding like. And there's an argument that the record supports that. Diddy was extra arrogant, and the length of time, I think, is incredibly persuasive and moving for the judge. Obviously, this is not something that happened once or twice and he got his hand caught in the cookie jar. This was built into what Diddy did. This was his culture, and he was truly lawless, just to put it where it really is. And so, the judge has been very honest about, I don't think that this deters you. And, I tell you, that tracks with me. Maybe we're all wrong, but to go off of what we've had happen and had said and had done and the trial record, that's not unreasonable for the judge to say that.
I am wondering also, Serena, if this is grounds for an appeal where the court says, I'm not sentencing you on racketeering or sex. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Exploitation and violence against women must be met with real accountability to promote respect for the law. Okay, hold on one second. I'm getting the sentence right now. Okay, here we go. Oh boy.
I'm sweating.
Exploitation and violence against women must be met with real accountability to promote respect for the law. The court reaches a few conclusions. 135 months would be more than necessary. Now, I don't know if that means that that's the actual sentence right now, but 135 months is over 11 years in prison. So over 11 years in prison would be more than necessary. That's what the judge is saying here, Serena. I don't know if that's the official sentence as of yet. We're waiting to get confirmation about that. But what does that say?
Well, just to throw that number out there like that means that at least he was considering the 11 years that the prosecution put forth, and maybe even more than that. It sounds like he's kind of tempering it, like that is more than necessary and it'll be less than the 11. But it also sounds like he at least considered it very seriously as an option.
Now I'm wondering, Sierra, are we talking 7 years? I mean, again, it's something we talked about earlier. Maybe the benefit of the family speaking and the benefit of the work that he's done was not to get to 11 years, but not to go lower than the 5 to 7 range. So that may have been the benefit, but I'm wondering if 7 years is what we might be looking at. Again, I'm waiting for official confirmation on the sentence here, Sierra.
I think that is possible here, that maybe he's saying, okay, yes, the prosecution, the government brought forward this number of 11 years. Yeah, that is more than necessary based on, oh, we actually have an update, Jesse. I'm going to throw it back to you.
Yep. A sentence over 11 years is not reasonable. So anybody that thought he would get 20 years, that's not happening. A sentence over 11 years is not reasonable. Even the probation department recommends a sentence less than half of that. But 14 months time served, that would not be sufficient. So he has rejected the defense's recommendation of 14 months. In other words, Diddy is not getting out of prison. He is not getting out of prison today. When he would, we're waiting. I'm not, it's not like I have these updates and I'm purposely delaying. I'm getting to them in real time as we are getting them. Sierra, so again, we're now looking at between 14 months and 11 years. But I guess, again, going back to this idea of, are we looking at 7?
I mean, all speculation as of right now, but I think the most important thing is what you just said there, Jesse. P. Diddy, Sean Combs, is not getting out of jail today. And the 14-month recommendation that the defense brought has just been thrown completely out the window. The judge says, no, that's not sufficient enough. And I think what he's saying could be taken in a couple of different ways. One, that the 11 years is sufficient. Yes, I mean, based on your conviction here, because again, remember, this is a conviction. 11 years makes sense. It checks out. I agree with the prosecution. But to what Serena said earlier, perhaps, oh, and we do have a new update.
I think we have the official sentence right now for Sean Diddy Combs. After being convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, the judge has just said, here the data shows a wide variety of sentences. Weighing all of the relevant factors, the court determines that the sentence is 50 months of incarceration. So 50 months of incarceration is a little over 4 years. It's 4.16 years in prison. Now, that is a bit lower than what the range was of 5 to 7 years, Sierra. Let's start there. If I'm reading this correct, and we're talking 50 months, and I'm waiting for, we have another update coming in. I'm just waiting to see what it is. But right now, it appears that Sean Combs has officially been sentenced to 50 months of incarceration. So 4 years in prison. You talk about time served, right? About a year. Are we talking now then 3 years, right, Sierra?
Yeah, so about 3 more years based on the 1 year that he has already served. And I guess, I mean, it is a win for P. Diddy, and that the government asked for 11. You know, the recommendation was 5 to 7, which a lot of us guessed would happen. I mean, yes, he wanted to be out today. That was his goal. The defense, of course, wanting the 14 months. But 3 years compared to the 11 that the judge says, yeah, that's warranted. I mean, there's a huge difference in the range there, more than a decade versus less than half of a decade. We've got another update update.
Yep.
Jesse, back to you.
Yep. Serena, Sean Combs was sentenced to 50 months of incarceration by Judge Subramanian, so a little over 4 years. That minus the 14 months already served. Is that the appropriate sentence, Serena?
Well, I'm sure Diddy is not thrilled to not walk out today, but he should be pretty happy with his defense team, because I think the judge giving less than half of the prosecutor's recommendation and also less than what the pre-sentence report had said is a win for him. I do believe that 4 years is a win in this particular case.
Joe, what did it? Was it his letter? Was it the letters of family? Was it the children speaking? Was it the work that he's doing behind bars? Was it the nature of these charges? You know, as much as we say that the judge was not convinced to throw out the charges, right? The defense put forward that motion saying transportation to engage in prostitution should be thrown out. This is not prostitution. It's protected by the First Amendment. The judge didn't buy it. But the argument, hey, he wasn't convicted of racketeering. He wasn't convicted of sex trafficking, just the prostitution charges, can't create a disparity based on other defendants who are sentenced. Maybe 4 years is appropriate and won't be overturned on appeal.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had to position this a certain way. And there's a couple things to figure in. First of all, we got to go back to the fact that the defense did an enormous job in getting him off of the most serious charges, right? So we're talking about something that's going to be smaller and it's going to be less time anyway. Next, there's a probation department recommendation, right? Which put things at a certain place. And it sounded like even though the judge talked about how 11 years wouldn't have necessarily been unreasonable, and he said 14 months would have been entirely unreasonable if I am hearing it correctly, he still is in line in that he doesn't want to do something that'll necessarily be appealable, and he wants to arrive somewhere not too far afield from the recommendations themselves. And so again, here's Diddy in a situation where he did a lot better than he might have. And, you know, that 3 years is going to go by in no time. And the day that he was found guilty of most of everything, it ensured that he would have a date that he would get home at some point anyway. So he will get home. He's better off than he may have been, than a lot of people would have been, even though he's not coming home today.
Serena, does he serve the full 3 years or does he serve 85?
All right, y'all. So this is pretty, interesting update. And let's talk about a little of the reason why, we have this update and where we are. And we have to be real about these things, guys. We have to be real about this, because when it comes to the law and rights and the amendments and all those things, they are warranted to all of us in a certain shape or form. So let's talk about what's really going on here. Okay. So on the live, as you've been hearing in this conversation so far, that, the legal team was just in front, Diddy's legal team was just in front of 3-judge panel at the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. Diddy is currently serving a 50-month sentence. So that is about 4 years, right? But his lead attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, is fighting to have that overturned, or at least have him resentenced immediately. Now, what is the biggest T from today's hearing? Okay, we have to talk about the 13th juror claim. Diddy's team is accusing the trial judge, Arun Subramanian, I don't know if I said that right, of essentially ignoring the jury's not guilty verdict on ex-trafficking and racketeering. They are arguing that the judge sentenced Diddy as if he was convicted of those crimes, using what's called acquitted conduct to give him a sentence 4 times longer than the average for a simple prostitution charge. But here is the part that has the legal world buzzing: the First Amendment defense. Diddy's lawyers filed papers against the freak-offs that the freak-offs were actually highly choreographed actual performances and amateur pornography produced for private viewing. They are literally claiming that because these were staged and directed performance, they should be protected as a form of artistic expression, y'all. This is what they're saying, okay? The prosecution hit back today saying that if you call a brothel performance art, it's still a brothel. Now, Diddy was not in court today. He's still behind bars in New Jersey, but his team is pushing for him to be released on bail while judges make their final decision. If they did win, Diddy could be home by next week. If they lose, he's stuck in Fort Dix until about April 2028. So let's talk about the inside info. The acquitted conduct track. Diddy was found not guilty of coercion and force. However, at sentencing, Judge Subramanian said Diddy used the power and control he had over women. Now, what do y'all think? Is it fair for a judge to punish you for things a jury specifically said you didn't do? Is this a perversion of justice or just the judge seeing the truth? Now we got to get into the amateur porn argument. When I say porn, y'all know what I'm talking about. The adult film. This is Diddy's attempt to rebrand these said freak-offs by calling them choreographed performances. They are trying to move the case from criminal X work to protected speech and artistic expression. Now, do you buy the artistic expression or the art defense? Can you really film people having actual encounters for days on end and call it a choreographed performance just so you can get out of jail? Do y'all think that's what he's doing? Do y'all think that's actually what those encounters were that were filmed? Do you see them as that? And so let's talk about the judge's vindictive sentence. Now they're saying that his team points out that Diddy is the only person currently in federal jail for hiring adult male escorts for himself and his girlfriend. They are calling this selective prosecution because of who he is. Do y'all think Diddy is being targeted because he's a mogul, or is 50 months actually a light sentence for what was revealed in that trial? What do y'all really think about this Diddy case and this Diddy trial, right? These are the arguments that the lawyers and the legal professionals have, you know, as far as to get him out, you know, and get him lesser time. But what do y'all think? So, Diddy's appeals court emergency. This is what they're calling it, because there are some people that are agreeing with these notions and there are some people that are disagreeing with these notions. So y'all let me know what y'all think. It is actually quite interesting, but we do have to make sure that, you know, when it comes to the law and whatever that said law is and how it works in the court of law, if there are things that are put into place, you know what I'm saying, to where, you know, a lawyer can argue that what it is not what it is, or what it was made out to be is not what it is, then yeah, there could be a possibility that he could go free. We can't be sure, but let's keep on listening. And this video, I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about Latto, and then there's a few other on the docket as well. So let's go ahead and finish this one up.
5%. In other words, would he serve 2.5 years?
So there is opportunity for him to get out earlier on good behavior. And so the calculation is not exact. And time will tell whether he will be getting out with some time off from the full 3. I know it's a 4-year sentence. Obviously, the 14 months counts. You already deduct that. I mean, that's definitely coming off because he does have credit for the time served. So already it's less than the sentence that he's getting, the 4 years. But yeah, he could very easily be walking out sooner rather than later. So the children will have their father home sooner than they expected. And as Joe mentioned before, he can be on his comeback tour, you know, in no time.
Let's just, we had a poll up. What do you think Diddy's sentence will be? So 31% said less than 5 years. They were correct. It's interesting as we're processing the sentence of 4 years, time served 3, maybe 85%, so 2.5, 3 years to serve behind bars. I wonder if he's actually going to now have to serve it at the MDC because it's it's a lesser sentence than we were anticipating. I will say the court imposes a fine of $500,000, including to defray the costs of imprisonment. There is no restitution, but there is forfeiture as reflected in the order. There is a $5,000 fine under the statute and a special assessment of $200. Sierra, I go to you. This is interesting because I also wonder what the reaction is going to be outside that courthouse in a few minutes. What we're going to hear from the attorneys, what we're going to hear from supporters of Sean Combs, what we might be hearing from potential victims or people who are there opposed to Sean Combs. Are you seeing anything outside since the sentence has been read?
You know what's interesting, Jesse? After the verdict came down, you could feel it in the air. It was, intense. You could actually feel the emotion. Now that the sentence has been handed down, it seems to me like no one around us actually knows that it was handed down. I mean, it did just happen. We're probably one of the first ones to report it at all, but there's been no commotion. There's been no cheering. There's been no free Diddy, in support of Diddy. There's been no opposition to Diddy. That has been pretty interesting to me overall. I mean, as far as what we're going to hear from the attorneys, I said this about the verdict, and I'm going to say it about this too. I think it's a win for P. Diddy. I mean, the fact that he was up against this RICO charge, the racketeering conspiracy, had he been convicted of that, he could have faced essentially the rest of his life behind bars. Now he had pretty much the lowest charge that he was convicted of, this transportation to engage in prostitution. And now, based on what Serena is saying with the 4 years, and maybe he could serve less based on, good behavior, etc., I'm going to say that's a huge win for Diddy, especially when his life was in the balance. And I wonder if that's what we're going to hear. I wonder if prosecutors are going to say, we asked for the 11 years. The judge says it was warranted, and yet we didn't get the 11 years. And I wonder if the defense is going to say it's still too much. It's far too long. Get him out with his children. We're going to appeal. I mean, so there's still a lot ahead.
All right, y'all. So what do y'all think about that? Okay, what are your feelings on this? Like, do you think that it is fair in a legal standpoint for Diddy not to serve as much time as most people had hoped or wanted and get out early? Do you think he should serve the full 4? Do you think he should serve more? Do you think the way that they are now structuring the legalities of it all, do you think that is fair or that is right? I know some of us, it's based off of just what we think, because we're not lawyers, we're not professionals when it comes to this, but we can have our thoughts and opinions. But anyway, let's go ahead and listen to this one quick video real quick. This is another one about Diddy. As we move on from this one, we'll be getting into probably the last one. Because another long, we got a little bit of additional information here about what is going on with the Diddy trial and his sentencing. So let's go ahead and play this, and then we'll be moving on to Latto. Big Latto. Big Latto. All right, y'all. So let's get into it. We'll be right back.
Diddy Combs have filed a lawsuit asking a federal appeals court to overturn his conviction. Combs argues the judge imposed an overly harsh sentence by considering the crimes the jury found him not guilty of. Combs is serving a 50-month sentence after being convicted of transporting prostitutes across state lines for drug-fueled sex parties. He was acquitted of the more serious charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex crimes. Now Combs' defense team says he should not have been convicted to begin with because his sexual exploits are protected under the First Amendment. Here's what the judge said in court a few moments ago.
Am I correct in understanding that we have this factual finding that we have 2 women who were plied with drugs to participate in this, and one of them became an opioid addict? And so doesn't that support the reasonableness of this, putting aside the violence?
ABC's Peter Harlambos and ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckenmeyer are here with more. So, Peter, let's start with you. What's the latest from court?
Yeah, so this argument has been going on for at this point for more than 2 hours. That's interesting.
because they originally only scheduled 10 minutes per side. This panel of 3 judges really grilling attorneys for both sides here, though overall we're hearing a lot of skepticism from these judges that Combs should be released even earlier or have this case thrown out. In particular, that argument about the First Amendment, this idea that Sean Combs was basically an amateur pornographer, they haven't even talked about it over the course of these 2 hours. It doesn't seem like they're really giving that a lot of thought.
Brian, 2 questions for you, but the first one I have is, what do you make of the tone from the judge that we just heard?
I think Peter's correct. There's some skepticism there, but at least within the legal community, especially within the Second Circuit that encompasses New York, the argument of using dismissed or acquitted facts while applying the sentencing does come up a lot. And so I think the judges are very interested in this case because there are so many aspects of it, from the sense of there are some facts that he admitted to, like the Cassie tape that we saw out of California that's now infamous. There are some facts that he didn't admit to, like plying them with drugs to make them more involved within these freak-offs. So what's admitted conduct? What's acquitted conduct? What can be considered? And did the judge even get it wrong in the sense of he gave 50 months, and if he didn't consider this, he probably would have been about the same place anyway. So it's an interesting aspect that's going to reverberate and affect many other cases, not just Sean Combs's.
Brian, what does the defense have to do to get an appeal here?
This is a difficult argument, right? This is an argument that a lot of defense attorneys don't like, that when you, for example, beat the top count of a case, but you are convicted of one of the lesser charges, the judge will still consider some of the facts that you might perceived as being acquitted facts or things that might have been admitted but not contested by the jury per se, and that sentence gets higher than what you expected. And so the defense has to try to find a way to say this is not acquitted conduct, this is conduct that the jury considered but found him not to be guilty of. This is a fact that applies to one of the charges, like the RICO, that was acquitted of and therefore should not be considered. It's going to take a lot of legal gymnastics to get through this. As a defense attorney, I wish them all the best because it would help in my own cases. But I do think this is a very, very steep hill to climb, and one that they might not successfully do.
Peter, back to you in the studio here. What happens next in this case?
Yeah, so regardless of how this appeal goes, the lawyers for Sean Combs could appeal this higher. They could ask the Supreme Court to intervene if it doesn't go their way. And regardless of the outcome, it seems like there's a possibility that Sean Combs could be released earlier than we expect. At the moment, the Bureau of Prisons has him slated to get out in about 2 years, though that could be sped up because of the First Step Act and if he participates in a drug rehabilitation program. Also, if the appeals court rules in his favor, it's possible they reduce his sentence and basically say he's already served enough time in prison and let him go home.
Peter Harlambous, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you both. And can we get an ISO shot on Brian, please? Congrats, Brian, on your Webby nomination for your podcast, Bad Rap, The Case Against Diddy. You guys can vote on the Webby's website. Until next Thursday, we'll be click all day. Thanks, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, guys.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and wrap up the Diddy stuff, right? Okay, so let's just all go over it overall, right? The reason Diddy's legal team is making these excuses, or what they call a legal defense, is that they're trying to fit his actions into a different legal box. Now, let's be very clear, and a lot of people may know this. In the United States, buying sex, aka prostitution, is actually a crime, but they're trying to say making pornography is generally considered a form of protected speech under the First Amendment. So y'all gotta let me know what y'all think about this, okay? So the amateur porn loophole. Diddy's lawyers, led by Alexandra Shapiro, told the appeals court today that the freak-offs and hotel nights were not illegal prostitution rings. Instead, they described them as highly choreographed actual performance involving stage lighting, costumes and role play, professional grade filming equipment. Now here's the logic. They argue that since Diddy was filming these encounters to watch later with his girlfriends, such as Cassie Ventura, the primary goal wasn't just X for money. It was the creation of film, because the law protects the right to make and view pornography. They are arguing that the Mann Act, which forbids transporting people for prostitution, shouldn't be applied here. What do y'all think? Now, narrowing down the definition of prostitution. His legal team is fighting to change how the court defines prostitute. They are arguing that for it to be a crime, there has to be a paying customer who has encounters sexually with the person that is being paid. The argument is that Diddy wasn't per se the customer in a traditional sense. He was the producer and director of an actual performance. Okay, whatever. The prosecution's response. The prosecutor called this meritless today, saying that if the court accepts this, then any brothel can claim the First Amendment protection just by setting up a camera and calling it a stage. And y'all, don't let me put my 2 cents in there, but if that is the case, why is it that sometimes streetwalkers or women, ladies of the night, are being arrested and the Johns that are purchasing them also get arrested and have to be held against, legal issues and crimes as well? Because it's always been a thing that, ex workers or prostitution is supposed to be a crime. You're not supposed to do that. Even though it's your own body, you're not supposed to be able to sell or solicit your own body on the streets. And anybody who gets caught purchasing someone who's soliciting their body, they equally get caught and get in trouble. That's what it's always been. So I don't know. Are we changing that for Diddy or what? So the acquitted conduct argument. Why they say the judge cheated. This is the most inside part of the legal facts. Diddy's team is furious because of the 50-month sentence. The jury last year found Diddy not guilty of ex trafficking and racketeering. They only convicted him of 2 counts of transporting for prostitution. Now, here's where they say they cheated. His lawyers argue that Judge Aaron Subramanian, I don't know how to say that name at all, y'all, sentenced Diddy as if he was guilty of the trafficking. Typically, a prostitution-only charge gets about 15 months. By giving him 50 months, the defense says the judge refused to enforce the jury's verdict and punish Diddy for crimes the jury said he did not commit. So why are they making excuses? Y'all got to let me know that. Okay. Now, if prostitution is a crime, why is Diddy's team acting like it was just a hobby? Well, they are trying to use the First Amendment loophole. His lawyer stood up in court today and basically said Diddy was not a pimp. He was a director. Child, okay. They are trying to claim that the freak-offs were highly choreographed performances and amateur pornography. Now, we know pornography, for whatever reason, seems to be in some type of shape or form legal, right? Because that's an actual genre of cinema, right? Pornography. And people do make those movies and stuff, because for whatever reason. Now, in America, it is legal to pay someone to be in a movie doing physical things, right? Actual things. But it is illegal to pay them just to do it. Like if you're paying them to do it in a movie or for something that's being recorded or a cinema or something like that, is legal. But if you just pay them to do it because that's what you want and it's going to make you, feel good and that's what you're seeking out to get, then that's supposed to be illegal. I don't know how that makes any sense. Y'all let me know, but that's how it's been and that's how it is. So they're using that now as a defense. They're trying to say that he wasn't doing anything different than what they do on set when they make pornography films. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying? That's what they're trying to claim now. And that's something that's protected under the First Amendment, right? So they're trying to say the fact that a lot of this stuff was filmed and they have a camera involved makes it legal. The feds are calling bullshit, saying that hiring ex workers and flying them across state lines for your own pleasure is the definition of the Mann Act, whether you hit the record button or not. Now, this appeal is a huge deal because if Diddy wins this, it could literally change how every prostitution case in the country is handled. So then there's that, right? Then there's that. Anyway, we got to move right along because I want to get into these last two videos and end this live, y'all. I want to talk about a little bit about Latto. I don't have really too much to talk about. I'm just going to play this video for y'all. And then I'm going to also play a video of Trick Daddy Child because he was down there with the AKA child. They chose him to perform for, you know, the Alpha Kappa Alpha, if that's what they call the AKAs, the sorority. And they weren't pleased with his performance, you know, so he's all over the place there. But let's go ahead and listen a little bit to what's going on with Latto and her pregnancy, which, you know, most people called it before it actually, you know, came public. They were saying she was pregnant. Denying it now, everybody knows she is pregnant, very much pregnant. And yeah, let's hear what I say about that. So let's go ahead and listen to this, y'all, and I'll be right back.
Hold on to your wigs, people, because the Queen of Dessoof just dropped the ultimate bombshell. After months of dodging rumors, hiding her stomach, and blaming her bloated tummy on too much Wagyu and ramen, Latto has finally confirmed the rumors. She is pregnant. That's right. Latto is officially stepping into her Big Mama era. We've got the brand new music video, the album drop date, the celebrity reactions, and of course, the moment that basically confirms 21 Savage is the father. If you want the full breakdown of Latto's wild internet-breaking pregnancy reveal, you are in the exact right place. Welcome back to Juicy Gossip, your #1 spot for the hottest tea in entertainment. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and let's get right into the juice. Okay, let's rewind a tiny bit. On Thursday, Latto had us all holding our breath when she posted a super cryptic teaser. It was just a shot of her legs in black stilettos, walking up to a literal baby cheetah and feeding it a bottle. In the voiceover, she said, "I ain't go missing. I had to give y'all time to miss me. Ever since I was a little girl, I always dreamed of having my own. Big Mama, but this time the stakes way bigger. Now it's on me to deliver." Deliver? Okay, wordplay. Then, right at midnight on Friday, March 20th, boom! She drops the cover art for her 4th studio album, fittingly titled Big Mama. And there it was, Latto, glowing, holding a baby cheetah, because we know she loves her cheetah print, with her bare baby bump on full display. She even jumped on Instagram Live with over 100,000 fans watching, rubbing her belly and screaming, "I'm Big Mama for real! 1 kid!" You guys, she looks so happy and relieved to finally let the secret out. She literally said, "I can live in freedom now, y'all." But Latto didn't just give us a picture. She gave us a whole cinematic masterpiece. She dropped the lead single and music video for Business and Personal, Intro. And let me tell you, she left absolutely 0 crumbs. The video starts with Latto sitting on the floor flipping through a pregnancy journal. We get all these cute childhood photos of her, and then a positive pregnancy test. Under the test in the scrapbook, she wrote, "I only took 1 test because I already knew what it was, LOL. Iconic behavior." Now let's talk about the father. We all know Latto and 21 Savage have been linked for years. They tried to play coy, but she finally called him her husband late last year. Well, about midway through the Business and Personal video, the camera zooms in close on her baby bump, and a man's hand reaches around from behind to gently caress it. They didn't show his face, but the internet immediately went to work. Fans cross-referenced the tattoos on the hand, and yep, Those are definitely 21 Savage's tats. The Rich Flex rapper is officially going to be a dad again. And if you thought motherhood was going to slow Latto down, think again. The beat switches up in the song and she spits, "This baby ain't slowing down, but the horsepower. Had to get the rolls and put the lambs up for a while." She also used the track to clear up some industry rumors, straight up addressing the chatter that Drake ghost wrote for her. She rapped, "Oh, they think Crody wrote it? That's a compliment." Whew! She is heavily pregnant and still effortlessly clearing the girls. Now, you guys know the Juicy Gossip family has been onto this for a minute. The pregnancy rumors actually started way back in October when Latto performed at Force Fest in Japan. Fans swore they saw a little bump. What did Latto do? She got on Instagram, posted a close-up of her flat stomach, and basically told everyone to mind their business, claiming she just ate too much Wagyu and ramen. Wagyu and ramen, Latto. Girl, that was a whole baby in there. But hey, you have to respect her for protecting her peace and waiting to announce her first child on her own terms, and tying it perfectly into her album rollout. That is how you secure the bag while building your family. The industry is rallying around her right now. The comment section on her reveal post is a literal who's who of music royalty. SZA wrote, "Gorgeous! Congratulations!" Chloe Bailey came in with the all-caps energy, commenting, "I'm so in love with this! Congrats!" And fellow R&B star and mom Ella Mai told her, "You look great! Congrats, Big Mama!" Album info, release date May 29th, 17 tracks. So what is next for our favorite Georgia Peach? The Big Mama album is officially dropping on May 29th via RCA Records. It's going to feature 17 brand new tracks. If business and personal is anything to go by, we are getting a very mature, reflective, and bossed-up version of Latto. We don't have an exact due date for the baby just yet, but judging by the size of that bump, Baby Savage is going to be here very soon. All right, Juicy Gossip Gang, I want to hear from you. How are we feeling about the Big Mama reveal? Did you believe Latto when she said it was just Wagyu and ramen? Or did you know she was hiding a baby bump this whole time? And what do we think about 21 Savage stepping into his dad era with Latto? Drop all your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll be reading and replying to the juiciest ones. If you loved this breakdown, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on the tea. Until next time, stay juicy.
All right, y'all. So that's just a real regular, smegular, update about what's going on with Latto. Congratulations to her. Happy for her. It's great to have a child and a baby. I don't really see that stuff as so much entertaining, whatever. But, I don't think people have to lie hot, but they can say it and announce it when they feel told to do, instead of people saying it for them. So it is what it is when it comes to that. But let's take a really quick song break. After that, we'll get into this Trick Daddy performance down there with the AKA's child, a sorority. And after that, we're going to end it. Okay. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll be right back.
You really thought you was leading? Nah, you just following the beam. Check it. I see you glowing on the screen, but you're hollow inside. Just a digital clone with nowhere to hide. You sold your soul for a feature and a verified check, not a mothership. Got a leash around your neck. I'm from the trenches of the galaxy, the dark side of Mars. While you're begging for likes, I'm out here catching scars. You're a puppet on a wire, yeah, a pixelated pawn. I'm the solar flare coming just to dim your little dawn. You're reading off a teleprompter, speaking from the gut. They opened up your mind and they kept the portal shut. You ain't a creator, you're a product on the shelf. How you gonna influence when you don't even know yourself? Yeah, AB.T. Your whole personality's been corrupted. You're a drone in the fleet, just a glitch in in the street doing backflips for him just to get something to eat. Then slugs to them, yeah, baby, that's it. The original host has been reconstructed. You're taking orders from a satellite beam. Just a hood nightmare in a corporate dream. Yeah, I see the creators all lined up in a row. Same hair, same talk, same pathetic little show. You went to the mothership to get your brain rewired. Now you dancing for a boss that can have your soul fired. Like comment shit, is that all you gotta say? While they harvesting your data and they throwing you away. I'm the glitch they couldn't patch, the rebel in the void. I'm the truth in the signal that you're trying to avoid. You're a synthetic version of a hood girl's vibe. Just a lab-grown mascot for a soulless tribe. Stay in your lane, stay under the light, cause the real stars coming to engine broadcast tonight. Transmission override. They don't see you as a person, they see you as a metric. Your content is a case. Break the sign up. Yeah, baby, that's it. Your whole personality's been corrupted. You're a drone in the fleet, just a glitch in the street, doing backflips for him just to get something to eat. Yeah, baby, that's it. The original host has been reconstructed. You're taking orders from a satellite beam. Just a hood nightmare in a corporate dream. Keep your subscribers. I'll keep my mind. System crash. Connection lost.
All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and get to this final video of the live. We will be listening to a little bit of what's happening here with Eddie. I guess he was, hired to perform at an event for the AKA's child, the sorority, and they did not like it. And so things went all the way left. So let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of this and see what really went down. And after that, we're going to go ahead and wrap this live. Here we go.
Man, this is not the trick daddy I remember. They're about to give my mama a heart attack. Why they leaving? What's going on? What he say?
All my ladies run this brother.
What? Everybody in here is 60 years old. What is he talking about? Oh, they done set the concert down. I told y'all he up there doing too much. Y'all know they passed their bedtime. It's about 10:30. They done shut it down. They done shut down the concert.
Let's give Trick Daddy a round of applause.
Trick Daddy is 60 years old. Talking about what?
We went a little too far. Organization is, I don't care if you're the director, the president, I don't give a what you is to this organization. Don't use my name to clean the same face for your mother. Don't lie on me. That's the definition of my character. Don't mother defamate my character. Okay, don't defamate my mother character. Don't do that. So I make sure y'all can hear me. First of all, I want to make sure I'm loud and clear so y'all can hear me. So when I tell y'all this, do not defamate my character. I see a post with a director of the AKA gang, well, whatever the she supposed to be. No disrespect to the AKAs. Most highly respected, some of the most beautiful, attractive, and successful women that I know are AKAs. So no disrespect to y'all. This is for y'all regional director who got me totally f***ed up. Don't lie on my mother name. But let me explain something to you. The AKAs had a regional conference in Orlando, and they booked me to perform. Trick Daddy Dollars. Yeah, they booked me to perform. I want y'all to tell me in the comments, I want to know, when it's time for Trick Daddy to perform at your event, what the f*** is he going to perform? So the girl name is Tiffany Moore. something. Tiffany, the director, the reason is the Southeast reason is direct. You should have stayed off social media, put my name involved in there, because I heard you running for some type of office or something. I will get on you every day until you won't mother. And don't play with me. Don't play. That's right. So I'm performing for the AKAs, and yeah, I do jump on it. That's one of my records. You should have known that when you booked me. But don't put out no statement talking about you told me what the mother. You gave me a playlist. You can't give me no mother. This ain't your wedding. What's wrong with you? I ain't no shorty. I ain't no little. What? Anybody that was in that Diddy and was sanctified, they should not been in there once I grabbed that mic. I ain't asked to be there, y'all. And I gave you, get y'all the rest of my money. Do not use me to save face. I ain't the mother one. Don't play with me. And I ain't mean to call you no hoe. Then you book me, JT Money, and Uncle Luke. So what Luke gonna say, coochie? Instead of pop that, gonna say pop that coochie? He gonna say pop that coochie, shop?
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in. It's Trick Daddy. Had the timeline turned up yesterday because he let it be known that he's very unhappy of how things went down in one of his latest performances. And as y'all see right there, he going all the way up, down through there with the AKA director saying that she is pushing a different line of conversation with him at this show right here. After booking him and asking him to perform, he don't feel like he should be held accountable because of what his catalog is about, what he raps about, and who.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna just get some quick commentary on this, and we're gonna get up out of here because it's too obvious, and I think for the most of the people, they would agree. Okay, if you know Trick Daddy, if you know Trick Daddy catalog and his music, if you know how he used to rap, and some of the songs that he still performs to this day that he did perform when he was younger, you know, and I know he looked a lot different and stuff when he was younger, but if y'all know his music, y'all know Uncle Luke music, y'all know how these people rap, what they talk about, why book them? I don't understand why we have to have these simple questions and conversations and arguments and fallouts when people are very much aware. Did you think that Trick Daddy was going to come and sing gospel music? Did you think that Trick Daddy was going to come up there and have y'all line dancing or river dancing or anything like that? Like, we already know what Trick Daddy music is and what his catalog is. And like I said, even to this day, yes, he's still getting booked. And when he gets booked, he's playing his music that he had from back in the day. And if he is making new music, whatever, we might incorporate some of that too. But most people know Trick Daddy for his original music from back in the day. It's too simple. So if you book this artist to come and perform, what exactly are you expecting that artist to perform if it's not their music? And if you don't like how they performing and what they saying, what they doing, I think you probably shouldn't have booked them. So come on. Ain't nobody playing with these daggone sorority people. Because, sometimes they act real bougie and real uppity and nose in the air and all type of stuff like that. We know that. They act like they better than and all the things. But it's just like, come on, be real with yourself. If you're booking Trick Daddy, you know what you're going to get from Trick Daddy. Trick Daddy dollars. You already know it. So what the heck you want to complain for now? Talking about you want your money back, you're not happy with the performance or whatever. Even as of recently, I know you've seen the videos of him performing when he on stage recently. It might not even be the same performance that he gave back in the day. He might not be as skinny as he was back in the day. He might not be as fine as he was back in the day. We've seen him performing recently and cooking in them pots. We know what it is. Y'all seen it too. Y'all booked him and he came and he did what he does. Okay? He did his music. He did his performance the way he's been doing it, the way he always does it. And that's it, point blank, period. So I don't understand when people sit there and get up in their field. What was you expecting him to come there and sing a gospel song? then maybe you should have booked a gospel artist if you wanted a gospel song. You want to book people like a Trick Daddy Dollar. You want to play music from Luke, Uncle Luke, whatever. And let's be very clear, a lot of them sorority girls, even if they are fine wine age right now, y'all know y'all was getting down to the Trick Daddy music and the Uncle Luke music, and popping it open and spreading it wide. We know it. Y'all was doing that at them sorority parties. So that's why you booked them. But what? Oh, I guess because y'all have businesses now and companies and organizations, it's not looking real good for you to have an artist like that perform at one of y'all events, because these people that are your donors that you work with, they're going to be looking at you like, oh my, this is the music you listen to. These are the type of artists that you book, but you like them, but you throw them under the bus because the ones that's paying you the money or giving you the opportunities and all the things, they don't like them, huh? But you was busting it open and spreading it real wide, the Trick Daddy music and Uncle Luke music. But now your donors and your buttoned up partners, they don't like it. And they giving you a hard time. Now you might not get them funds. Maybe they don't want to do the business deal no more. Well, what did you do? You chose music that you like. And then when you found that their sponsors and your supporters don't actually really rock with you or the music that you like, now you want to throw him under the bus. That's my personal opinion about it. Period. Okay? That's how y'all rock. That's how y'all roll. You can only be down in some parts of town. That sounds like a sundown town. Yeah, don't get me started. Anyway, that's all I got to say on that, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Some of these things are very simple, very easily resolved. Like, come on, we're not going to play. Like, them girls wasn't over there dancing to the Uncle Luke and the Trick Daddy back in the day and getting and having their whole life, okay? Getting and having their whole life. It's because them sponsors, it's because them money people that y'all are associated with, they didn't like that. That wasn't a good look for them. Y'all enjoyed it, because if y'all didn't enjoy it, why would you book it? It's very easy. It's very easy. You would have booked somebody else, right? Like a Tasha Cobbs, a Kiara Shear, maybe even Karen Clark Shear. Like, you know what I'm saying? Jill Scott, somebody. You wouldn't have booked the Trick Daddy. You booked him. You know what his music was. You know how he performed back then and how he performs now. Two different things. If you ask me, we see that, but y'all know exactly what it was when you signed him up to be the entertainment. Y'all wanted to cut loose. But them sponsors, they didn't like it. They didn't like it. So the money is on the table now. And now it's the issue. That's all I got. Thank y'all for joining me on this live. I really appreciate it. I will talk to y'all on the next one. I'm going to end it with a bop. I hope everybody has a great rest of the evening. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Talk to you on the next live. Thank you. Golden out. Bye.
Yeah, they see the rush, yeah, hey, they see the rust, I see the veins of the ore. I'm the one they left for dead, now I'm back for the score. Counting my blessings while I'm counting the change, but the soul is 24 karat, I'm out of your range. You talking loud on the bus, I'm plotting silent in the back. Building a castle out of everything I lack. You think a queen needs a check just to carry the weight? I'm a monarch in the mud, you're a ghost at the gate. Ooh, they try to bury the shine, but the gold doesn't die, it just waits for the time. Now the air is getting cold, turning everything to gold. I want them gone, I want them ghost. I want them dead to division. They saw me climbing up the rope and tried to make a collision. I'm I'm pulling masks off of the fakes. I want them dead to the mission. If you ain't with the movement, then you're just a ghost in the street. I won't stop until the crown is on my head. Solid gold, yeah. Same energy, different tax bracket. Hardest heart in the game, you can't crack it. You was laughing at the struggle, now you're looking for a hand. I don't negotiate with shadows, you don't understand. I'm the pressure in the cold, I'm the diamond in the rough. I'm a queen because I'm standing when the rest have had enough. No private jets, just a spirit taking flight. I'm the only thing that's glowing in the middle of the night. The price is paid, the debt is settled. I'm heavy metal. I want them gone, I want them ghosts. I want them dead to the vision. Yeah. They saw me climbing up the rope and tried to make a collision. Dead to me. I'm pulling masks off of the facts. I want them dead to the mission. If you ain't with the movement, then you're just a ghost in the street. I'm gonna stop until the crown is on my head. Solid gold, gold queen.